Hockey and basketball haven't really got it started yet. So we just got one question for you.
Are you ready for some football?
The Browns, Cleveland's football team. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Cleveland's new shrine to the legends of rock and their music. Both began in the early 1950s, the new music giving baby boomers a cultural identity. The Browns also energized the city of Cleveland with championship teams in their first years in the NFL. They were Elvis Presley's favorite team, these Cleveland Browns. Their star at the time, Jim Brown, could have been called the King, but the name was already taken. An identity crisis hit the Browns in the 1970s. Their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, hammered them into oblivion. The 1980s saw the Browns frequently win their division, but the genesis of a reputation for postseason failures was this loss to the Broncos in the AFC Championship. It remains to be seen if the music of the 90s will become the classics of tomorrow. This season, the Browns lead their division, but will quarterback Vinny Testaverde take them forward to memorable football greatness, to a first-ever Super Bowl? Rock and roll is still a reflection of popular culture. Right now, Buffalo Bills tonight on Monday Night Football. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf, and welcome to Cleveland. Good matchup for you tonight. We are happy you are with us. The Cleveland Browns off to a good start. They're 3-1 coming into tonight's game. They were 11-5, a playoff team a year ago in the AFC Central. They think they've taken another step. That step, of course, to catch the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that beat them twice last year in the regular season and then knocked them out of the playoffs. They think they're better this year. They have to take another step tonight, though. They face the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, a 7-9 team from a year ago, after going to the Super Bowl 4 consecutive times, and now they have taken some steps. They have turned this team around. They've changed considerably, and particularly on defense.
Absolutely. They picked up Bryce Pop, the free agent linebacker from Green Bay, among others. Defensively, they think they're better than they've been in a long time under new coordinator Wade Phillips. Offensively, most of the names are the same. You've got Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed, who've been together for a long time. However, what's disturbing offensively is Kelly is completing 42% of his passes through the first 3 games, and Thurman Thomas is averaging an abysmal 2.8 yards per carry on the ground, so they have to pick it up. Though the character of this team has changed defensively, that's how they will have to stay in most of their games this season. The end of the party came last year, but they don't think they will fizzle out, because they think this is a team that can get to the playoffs again and advance in the playoffs. And tonight is an early season litmus test for the Buffalo Bills, because if they can beat a quality opponent, and Cleveland is a quality opponent on the road on a Monday night, they'll be 3-1, Dan, with Seattle and the New York Jets to follow. They'll be right back in the race against the Browns, a team we saw in preseason. They looked terrific the night we were here, and they're looking pretty good during the regular season as well.
You bet they are, Al. And this is, as you say, a legitimate Super Bowl contender in the Cleveland Browns. I think along with the Miami Dolphins, co-favorites from the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. Now, Coach Bill Belichick is entering his 5th season at the helm of the Brownies, and he has molded a team in his own image, conservative, businesslike, and tough. The last time these two teams met, the Bills and the Browns, was back in 1990 here in Cleveland, and the Bills beat the Browns 42-0. Now, there are only 4 Browns players left from that team, and that's how he's changed this thing around relatively quickly. How has he done it? A conservative, tough, hard-nosed defense, and a new offense led by a new quarterback in Vinny Testaverde, who coming into tonight's game is the highest-rated quarterback in the NFL. Is this a Super Bowl team? You better believe it is. Longtime Browns owner Art Modell may finally get that Super Bowl wish.
And so the Cleveland Browns at home on a gorgeous night before a full house, close to 80,000 looking on. And they'll receive as Steve Christie puts it in the air for the Buffalo Bills. And here we go from Cleveland. Good kick taken at the goal line. Michael Bates. And he gets tripped up at the 20-yard line. A diving tackle made by Ken Irvin, a rookie from Memphis. Vinny Testaverde his 9th year in the league and his first appearance ever on Monday Night Football. Several seasons, of course, with Tampa, came here 3 years ago. Offensively, Leroy Ford and Ernest Biner behind him. Michael Jackson and the former Falcon Andre Rison outside. Walter Reeves, the tight end. And then up front, Jones, Williams, Everett, Dahl, and Brown. Jones and Everett are the key men, the left tackle and the center. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. They open up with a double tight end set, put Hartley in the slot, and number 48, Hartley in motion. And Vinny going right to the air, and Vinny going deep, and it's caught by Andre Rison, who had been limited to 9 receptions thus far in 4 games. And it's his longest reception of the season as he picks up 19 defensively now for the Bills. One of the few teams still playing a 3-4. Hansen, the newcomer Ted Washington, and the great Bruce Smith. Then the quartet of linebackers, Pop, Perry, Maddox, and Cornelius Bennett. And in the secondary, they've been doing a good job. Burris and Smith at the corners, with Schultz at safety. And Henry Jones, first down from the 40-yard line. Testaverde under pressure and throws incomplete, chased by a trio of Bills. Bryce Pop is in there. Number 5, a very good edge rusher. 2nd down and 10.
There's a new defensive coordinator for the Bills for this year, former head coach of the Denver Broncos. You'll see a more of a slashing type defense. I talked with him before the game, guys, and he said this is as fine a personnel as he has had defensively. It says quite a bit.
I think they're going to have to run a lot of line stunts because, with the exception of that guy right there, Bruce Smith, I don't think anyone on Buffalo's defense is going to whip their guy one-on-one unless it's Bryce coming off the corner. That time, Pop got in there on a line stunt. Look for a lot of that tonight.
2nd and 10. Vinny to the air again, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Andre Rison. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by the all-new Ford Taurus. A look you've never seen from a name you know well. AT&T, your true choice. And Bud Light, if you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
One of the strengths of the Cleveland Browns is this huge offensive line. They've done a very effective job protecting Testaverde. They led the NFL in allowing the least number of sacks last year with only 14. They are quick, they are talented, and they are huge.
Ernest Biner is in the game. He's their 3rd down back. 3rd and 10. Vinny with a deep drop. Good protection, and then tries to get it into the hands of Ernest Biner. Through his hands and incomplete. So after a promising beginning and a 19-yard completion on their first play, it's 3 and out for Cleveland.
Marv Levy in his 10th year. There's Bruce Smith. He's without a sack thus far this year. It could be that he is commanding a lot more attention than perhaps the other side, where Bruce Pop has 4 sacks, and Phil Hansen on the other side has 2.5 sacks. Bruce Smith does get your attention.
Jeff Burris back to receive the kick. The Bills have been terrible on special teams thus far this season in every phase. Tom Tupa to punt.
Other than that, they've been fine.
Yeah, no problem. Fielded at the 21-yard line. And all of a sudden, their terrible special teams play looks a lot better, and a flag comes in at the end of the play as he runs it back to the 47-yard line.
Well, that almost certainly has to be a face mask at the conclusion of that play.
I think it was Ernest Biner.
Yeah, Ernest Biner, number 21.
40-yard kick, 26-yard run back.
Certainly not a necessary one.
Face mask, 5 yards on the kicking team, 5 yards from the end of the run. 1st down.
Well, it's not a big one. It could be 15. Bruce DeHaven, the special teams coach, upset over it. Let's take a look at it. Biner gets his hand in there. They won't let you do it.
Ford introduces the all-new Taurus.
It's just like a dream you can hold in your hands. Taurus stole your heart once, it'll steal it again. Its promises made, its promises kept. It's a dream within reach, and it's you at your best. Taurus, making the dream come true for you. Making the dream come true. It's a cherished part of the
It has 12 cylinders, 492 horsepower, and one antifreeze coolant to protect it all, Zerex. And now Zerex comes in an easy carry 3-pack, the perfect amount for the 2-car family. Today's engines are made for Zerex.
We at Dr. Pepper never thought anyone would duplicate our one-of-a-kind taste. But someone finally did. We did. Discover what millions already have, the great taste of Diet Dr. Pepper.
Jim Kelly went to school at the University of Miami, played in the USFL, now in his 10th season with the Bills. And he's got Carwell Gardner, the fullback, the great Thurman Thomas, the running back, Copeland and Reed are the wideouts. Lonnie Johnson caught 7 balls in their last game. Fina, Reuben Brown, the rookie, Hull, Ostrowski getting the start along with Fina along the line. As Thurman Thomas picks up a couple on first down, Rob Burnett making the tackle. And let's take a look at the Browns up front. Burnett, the veteran, Goad, the ex-New Englander, Footman and Anthony Pleasant, the front four. Then the linebackers, 2 ex-Giants with Banks and Johnson and Caldwell. No huddle, Kelly to Reed, and he's a little bit short of the first down, tackled at the 39-yard line. And the rest of the Cleveland defense with Banks, Johnson, and Caldwell, who ran an interception back for a touchdown last week. Langham and the ex-49er Griffin. Moore has 4 picks this year, and Eric Turner as good a free safety as there is in the league. Good secondary.
The Bills
first
run
2 plays.
Yeah.
The Bills have come out without a huddle. That's been a lot of speculation as to what they would do. There was a lot of concern as to what kind of offense they should be running. Jim Kelly expressed he wanted the no huddle offense. They say they're going to mix it with the huddle. They came out with no huddle the first 2 times.
3rd and short. They give it to Gardner, and he powers his way on a second effort for a first down to the Cleveland 35-yard line.
And that time, Frank, the only reason they went into the huddle is because they substituted their short yardage package. Now comes a regular offense and no huddle. They go right to the line of scrimmage, and make no mistake, this is where Jim Kelly is most comfortable. He's more effective. He's more comfortable. And this is the vintage Buffalo Bills where he calls the plays. You're absolutely right.
From the 36, Thomas swings to the outside, and Thurman still can't find any room to roam. Tackled by Stevan Moore.
There is a good look inside the face mask of Pepper Johnson. And boy, what he has brought to this team. Came here in '93 as a free agent. Leadership, competitiveness, everything you look for in a middle linebacker. That's right.
He's fiery.
Not to mention the former Buckeye is back home in Ohio.
Gary Lane is the referee tonight.
False start, offense, number 79, prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Well, there's your rookie from Pittsburgh, their #1 choice, Reuben Brown.
He's a load too. This guy is talented. He's playing as a rookie. He's starting as a rookie, and he's going to be a fixture at left guard many years to come for the Bills. He's got a Pro Bowl type future.
On 2nd and 14. Kelly throws, catches, made by Copeland. Flag is down. Good move to the inside. Nets a first down for the moment, tackled by Isaac Booth. But a penalty on the play.
Well, it's back in that area, the offensive lineman, and that's
that holding call.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, when the flag is dropped back there, that's what it's going to be.
Reuben Brown again, I think is what he said. Consecutive penalties against the rookie.
Yeah, I think Reuben turned Gary's mic off.
We'll see if we can Reuben, we get talking and extolling his virtues right off the bat, and what's he do? Couple penalties.
2nd down and 24 as they push back to the 50. It's Reed on an end around, and Andre with a good second effort turns about a 4-yard gain into more of a 9-yard gain, but there's another flag down, and I think we have a face mask at the end of the play.
Well, the way Andre Reed went down, it looked as though somebody had him by the face mask.
Bill Belichick in his 5th year as the Cleveland head coach. Bills are applauding, so the penalty is against Cleveland. Gary, turn your mic on.
And this is going to be, more importantly, a first down.
Stadium problem with Gary Lane's audio, but it's a personal foul against the Browns.
And a blatant one. It'll be a 15-yard march off. Isaac Booth.
Well, it
moving
must
up
have
to
been,
make the tackle.
must have been prior to that. It didn't look like he had a hold of the face mask there.
Big break for the Bills.
11-10 left, opening quarter, no score, first down. And Thomas, and another flag is down, so 4 or 5 plays in a row with a flag thrown. Gary Lane, a one-time quarterback with the Browns.
I hope this isn't against Reuben. Please don't be against Reuben. Oh,
Nope,
yes.
it's against Cleveland, offside.
Well, this game is off to a stuttering start, but yet you notice that slowly the Bills are working their way towards Cleveland's goal line. Even with the
It's a Bills stutter.
Yeah, the number of penalties have been called, a couple against Buffalo, but a couple against the Browns that have kept drives alive, and now you're with a 1st and 5, really favoring the offense.
From the 22-yard line, here's Thomas trying to cut it back, and Thurman takes it inside the 20 to about the 18. He's a little short of the first down. Carl Banks makes the tackle. Thurman Thomas used to have 100-yard rushing games about every other week, but hasn't had one now in almost a full season. Last 13 games.
Most of those came when Will Wolford was around and House Ballard.
And the catch is made by Lonnie Johnson on 2nd and short. And that is enough for a first down at the 15-yard line.
The biggest change that has happened to the Bills over the past few years, Dan, wouldn't you say, has been the erosion of talent off that offensive line.
They don't control the line of scrimmage. And this is not an all-star pass by Jim Kelly either. Low and away, and I think that was a fine job by Lonnie Johnson of handling it. But you're right, they're not as dominant up front as they used to be.
Kelly on 1st and 10 hits Justin Armour for a touchdown. The rookie from Stanford, Justin Armour, gets free over the middle and puts it in the end zone, and Banks shaken up.
That's Justin Armour's first NFL touchdown. He's going to keep the ball, and I don't blame him.
Only his 4th reception. He's
Yeah.
a big target. He runs real fine pass routes. He doesn't have great speed. He's 6'4", gives you a big target coming across the middle, and good protection for Kelly, and a lot of concern now on the Browns side of the field as Carl Banks is having his problems.
Kelly with a soft low and away follows it up with an absolute strike right down the middle to Armour. The two safeties are just too late in arriving for the Cleveland Browns. Turner and Carl Banks looked like they made contact right on the goal line, and Carl Banks remains on the ground.
An injury timeout before the extra point attempt.
Dad?
Yeah?
There's something I want to tell you.
What is it, son?
Well, Dad, you're my dad. And I love you, man.
You're not getting my Bud Light, Johnny.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Ray, forget it, Johnny.
Recently, the Broncos and 49ers showcased their talents in Tokyo.
Love is a many splendid thing.
At Zone West Karaoke,
Your man. Blame it on the bossa nova. The dance of love.
where the players brought no ability to carry a tune, but did bring their Visa card.
Was it the moon?
Because Zone West can accept just about anything except American Express.
Everybody sing. It's the April rose that only...
Emma, seems like we've known each other forever.
Yeah, I know. 2 weeks.
Will you marry me? Because, Emma, I love you, man.
Oh, Johnny, you're not getting my Bud Light.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down,
Johnny?
make it a Bud Light.
Jane?
It's Joan.
Jane, Joan, whatever. I feel like I've known you forever.
Tuesday at a special time, Jill's new friend gets too close for Tim's comfort.
We were just sitting out in the Camaro talking. It's no big deal.
I don't care. Camaro, what year?
An older home improvement, Tuesday.
Carl Banks is going to come in from the left of your screen, and he makes contact and is hit rather hard by Eric Turner, the free safety of the Browns. And boy, that is really a banger right on the top of the hat of Carl Banks. He's over on the Browns bench, but you can see how clearly that must have hurt Carl Banks.
Imagine had armor been between them.
Oh.
Steve Christie now for the extra point. He boots it through. It's the first touchdown the Browns have allowed in any of the first 3 quarters of any game this season. Buffalo scores on its first possession, 7-0.
Pennzoil Performax 100 Synthetic Motor Oil presents the 100% protection play. Wide receiver Chris Carter of the Minnesota Vikings is an easy target, and quarterback Warren Moon proved it throughout the 1994 campaign. Moon's protection never wavered as Carter hauled in 122 passes, smashing the NFL record for receptions in a season.
Chris Carter of the Vikings has set the new NFL single-season receiving record.
Wow, how'd they do that?
Pennzoil introduces Performax 100. 100% synthetic at a breakthrough price.
100% synthetic at a price this low? How'd they do that?
Leave it to Pennzoil to make synthetic affordable.
How'd they do that?
Hey, there's more. An extra $6 rebate on a case. Or $6 off on an oil change by the pros.
How'd they do that?
Engine problems? Before you try a tune-up, try Gum Out first. The solution could be less than $5.
Ford introduces the all-new Taurus, where every curve flows into an ingenious new design, where one-of-a-kind ideas unfold, where everything you touch is soft on your fingertips. And even the back seat shows forward thinking. The all-new Ford Taurus.
Making the dream come true.
Cleveland Stadium on the lakefront, and there is a shot from high above the Goodyear blimp Spirit of Akron on a gorgeous night in northern Ohio. And as Frank mentioned at the very top, an electric feeling in this city. Monday Night Football, and then the Cleveland Indians play the Boston Red Sox at Jacobs Field about a mile away the next 2 nights in the American League Division Series. 7-0. The Buffalo Bills have the early lead. Steve Tasker has been hurt, and he makes his first appearance of the season. The great special team star, number 89. Christie's kick fielded by Bates, a yard into the end zone. And Bates has room. Down the sideline he goes, and he's finally forced out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line. Pushed out by Marlon Turner.
Buffalo showed how important a good kickoff return can be. You saw their return, and with the penalty, they started inside Cleveland territory and turned it into a touchdown. And now we'll see if Bates can make his return pay off for the Cleveland Browns as he gets it up to the 36. Good work getting outside the perimeter of Buffalo's coverage. And the Brownies get to start in relatively good field position.
Testaverde on his first possession completed his first pass, and then threw 3 incomplete passes. And now their first running play is Leroy Horde over the right side for nothing. Met by a quartet of Buffalo Bills. Bruce Smith right in the middle of the action.
Still fine after all these years. Bruce Smith in his 11th year, in my estimation, hasn't lost a step.
What he does to an offensive coordinator setting up a game plan is just mind-boggling.
It's such a great matchup tonight, Frank, between he and Tony Jones.
6 of the sacks, 10 sacks for Buffalo have come from the left side across on the other side from Bruce Smith.
2nd and 10. Horde through the middle, and nothing happens there. He's tackled by Mark Maddox, number 55. Smith, of course, is one of the constants, and so is Bennett. But one guy the Bills are missing this year is Darryl Talley, one of their great leaders at linebacker for a lot of seasons. But they did pick up Bryce Pop.
And what you pick up there in trade-off kind of is that Darryl Talley was a guy that can get downfield, good coverage linebacker, a guy that roams the field. Bryce Pop is really a pass rusher. He's that linebacker, much like a Kevin Green and a Greg Lloyd, that really knifes off the corner to pressure the quarterback. Completely different type of a player than Darryl Talley.
3rd down and 9. Vinny over the middle, and Rison can't make the one-handed catch. Marlon Turner with the coverage on the play, and so the Browns are 3 and out, and Tom Tupa will punt for the 2nd time in the game with 8:17 to go in the opening quarter.
Boy, Andre Rison was wide open.
That was just behind him.
That was an easy 1st down for the Cleveland Browns. Comes underneath on the crossing pattern, and they can't convert. And a rather shaky start for the Browns offensively.
Now Billy Brooks gets back to accept this kick. They had Burris return the last kick, and he returned it 26 yards, but now it's Brooks to take Tom Tupa's punt. High snap, but Tupa comes down with it. And Brooks makes the catch in a dangerous play as he gets tackled immediately at the 20, eschewing the fair catch, but holding on as Johnny Thomas was right there. Another look at Andre Rison and a catchable ball on the 3rd down pass.
A little behind him, but I think Andre was thinking more about where am I going to go when I catch the ball.
My daughter used to think fish just came from the supermarket.
You know, my son used to wait for rainbows, but now we go looking for them.
I know they learn all about the world in school, but now we can show it to them.
Isn't it amazing how opening one door can open up so many others? Ford Explorer, because the world's too big to be left unexplored.
It's surprising but true. With Hewlett-Packard's real-life imaging system, the print quality of HP's new DeskJet 600 series printers for the home is so good that it's sometimes hard to know the difference between what's real and what's just really well printed. HP home printers. Just what you had in mind.
As the official airline of the 1996 Olympic Games, Delta has created an event just for business travelers, the International Dash. With 4,900 daily flights to 300 cities, we'll fly you to the business world with a schedule that's as full as yours. And we don't do it so we can finish first. We do it so you can. Delta Airlines.
There's Andre Rison on the right. Look at this. He's not expecting this pass from Vinny Testaverde. There's the ball. He still hasn't looked. He looks at the last minute and is just able to get his right hand on the ball. If he'd have seen that thing coming, he could have adjusted his speed. For some reason, Andre Rison not expecting that pass from Vinny Testaverde, Frank. $17 million. You better be looking for the football.
We saw
Interesting, excuse me, Al, Buffalo on the sidelines, they literally look at the defense to see who is going to be out there for Cleveland. Now they'll come onto the field. They won't bother going into the huddle. And meanwhile, Belichick on the other side, Bill Belichick is playing the same game. He changes linebackers, so it's a different defense than the Bills thought they had watched from the sidelines. Game of chess.
Bills from the 20, 8:08 to go in the 1st quarter. Buffalo leading 7-0. A little swing pass out to Thurman Thomas. He's met immediately by Stevan Moore.
Stevan Moore is a guy who's making a Pro Bowl bid early here in the 95 season. He's already got 4 interceptions, and he's not yet up. And this would be a large loss for Cleveland if he's in any way impaired. Their starting strong safety already has 4 interceptions, 1 sack, and this guy is a heavyweight hitter. In conjunction with Eric Turner, Frank, 2 of the hardest hitting safeties in this game.
He's got a great pair, but it looks like Moore, at least for the moment, is going to come to the sidelines. And there's Dana Hall. He's been around a little bit too. Former 49er comes in to replace him. Moore now running, so he appears to be all right.
So we've seen Turner mildly shaken and Moore as well in the first 7 minutes of the game.
Against this offense of the Buffalo Bills, you need your 2 safeties to turn in a strong performance. Browns can't afford to lose either of those 2.
2nd and 9. Draw, Thurman Thomas, and we mentioned at the very top, he's averaging 2.8 yards per carry. The league average is 4.0. So he's well below the league average. He's clearly below his career average by a mile. And tonight he's averaging about a yard a carry.
Not exactly padding those numbers, is
No.
As you don't follow the Cleveland Browns, Bill Belichick, their head coach, is the acting defensive coordinator. He calls all the defenses. 3rd and 9 from the 21-yard line. Kelly with time, and Reed cannot make the fingertip catch. Probably wouldn't have had the first down anyway because Don Griffin and Pepper Johnson were there with double coverage.
Your assessment, I think, is right on, Al. Even if he makes the spectacular catch, Andre Reed is going nowhere. Outstanding coverage by the Browns.
Meanwhile, Eric Turner came limping off. The safety back to receive the kick now for the Cleveland Browns is Derek Alexander. Chris Moore, what a punt, sends it down to the 31-yard line. And Alexander with room into Buffalo territory. Penalty marker is down. Marker down as he, for the moment, goes into the end zone.
Well, this marker, though, is back at the line of scrimmage. The flag is actually back at the 19-yard line.
And there's another one up at the 26-yard line on the other side of the field. The crowd clearly, and the Browns as well, figuring the penalty is going to go against Buffalo. Ineligible man downfield. Touchdown.
Well, special teams performing a little better tonight. Derek Alexander put on a burst of speed. It was like an afterburner. That's how you return a punt. There was no picket line intended. He saw a little gap and just turned it on with a little move to beat the punter, and he was gone.
This is a new job now for Alexander. It's only the second punt he's returned in his career. The other was a 5-yard run back last week. And here's your new Browns punt returner.
Yes, sir. That'll earn you the job in a hurry.
Matt Stover for the point after. So a 48-yard punt, a 69-yard return for a touchdown. And as we mentioned earlier, the Bills having all kinds of trouble this season. Special teams, clearly punt coverage, one of those problem areas. Prime example.
There's an exciting new world out there, and one company is helping you put it all within your reach.
Now a great time to be alive. The world is moving to a brilliant sun. Now is a great time for man, woman, child. I tell you, children, I tell you something. Listen, people, I tell you something. My human family, I tell you truth. It's all within your reach.
That's your true choice. AT&T.
Introducing Turning Leaf Chardonnay. There's a turning leaf on the label and changing ideas about wine in the bottle.
All right, gentlemen. Tomorrow, your butts are mine. Lights up.
Man, I'm hungry. Russell Athletic Wear is made to handle the toughest situations on and off the field.
Hot dog, crisp fries, hamburger, tacos grande, pizza.
Coach, going somewhere, ladies.
Hard work, dedication, commitment.
Get Russell Athletic. Get tough.
Get up there, Lord Bud. Go, go.
Derek Alexander returning a punt for a touchdown. That's something he did 4 times at the University of Michigan. And it's the first punt return for a touchdown allowed by the Buffalo Bills in 10 years.
You can understand why. He got one little gap, and he didn't do any juking at all until he got to the punter. He just turned it on. It was a great effort.
University of Michigan well represented on this Browns offense with Leroy Horton, Steve Everett, as well as Alexander.
Here's Derek Holmes, a rookie from Portland State, returning the kick to the 30-yard line. All right, tomorrow night, don't miss an ABC News special coverage of the Simpson verdict at 10 o'clock, 9 Central Time. And make sure to watch the all-new Home Improvement at a special time, followed by Tony Danza in Hudson Street, and then Murder One, an hour earlier than normal, all tomorrow night right here on ABC. First and 10 at the 30-yard line. And Thomas picks up 4, gets it up to the 34-yard line. Pepper Johnson making the tackle.
Again, look at that hurry-up offense that Jim Kelly is so comfortable with. One thing, it kind of inhibits what a defense can do. They are just playing a nickel, the Browns are right now. They're not trying to change.
For the Browns right now, Stevan Moore is back at a safety position, but Eric Turner is not in the ball game. Louis Riddick is playing the other safety position.
But Turner lives up and looks like he is ready to go back in. Standing by Bill Belichick with his helmet in his hand.
3rd and 2. From the 38-yard line. 5:48 left. First quarter. Game tie 7-7. Thomas, draw, picks up the first down. Hikes his way up to the 43-yard line. First down, Buffalo. And let's get our initial report from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Al, when that collision occurred between Banks and Turner earlier in this ball game, Turner came limping badly off to the sideline. Ever since, he has been limping badly in the right leg. And they brought him over to the sideline. They put a wrap above that right knee. He's gone back in the ball game, but he keeps coming back out because he's having a problem with it. Now, they're not saying what it is, but obviously it's going to bother him throughout the rest of this ball game. Al?
Not in for this play as Holmes makes the catch, and he is down at the 46-yard line. The play whistled dead at that spot.
There's Carl Banks. Eric Turner is back sitting on the Browns bench. He's being attended to by a couple of the Browns personnel.
He looked like he wanted to go in, and they wouldn't let him, and now they're working on that right leg that Lynn spoke of.
And they've got the knee pad lifted up, and they are looking at the knee. Kelly again calling the play at the line.
2nd and 7 from the 46. Derek Holmes takes it to the 46, picks up a first down. Holmes selected in the 7th round at the end of the 7th round. He's 24 years old, grew up in Southern California, got into a lot of trouble as a kid, in and out of school, went to Pasadena College for a while, and then he wound up at Portland State, and they took a chance on him. But he's got a tremendous amount of talent, and could he be the heir apparent to Thurman Thomas? Time will tell. Reed makes the catch.
Pepper Johnson gave him a little kiss right there.
Holmes
Holmes is a pretty good blocker, Frank, but this time he got stroked pretty good. And another Cleveland Brown is down on the field. That's Antonio Langham, I believe, the starting left cornerback. And the Browns secondary is being decimated here still early in this ball game.
Again, it was a collision with his own man.
That's Langham right there making the tackle. And there he gets hit by Caldwell.
Mike Caldwell.
And actually, it's Caldwell who hits Reed, who ends up hitting Langham.
Langham was up there to prevent the first down, and then the collision from Caldwell.
So Langham hurt. The good news, though, for the Browns is that Banks has now come back into the game with 3:59 remaining in the opening quarter in Cleveland.
You know, I talked about Derek Holmes and his baptism in the National Football League. He really got a good shot that time by Pepper Johnson, who came on a blitz.
On the subject of injuries on the Browns defensive unit, we have to mention Craig Powell, their #1 draft choice, the linebacker out of Ohio State. He was hurt last week.
And Langham really looks to be hurting. He goes off with that right arm pinned to his torso. He's not making any effort at all to move that thing. Here's that Pepper Johnson hit. He comes around the corner. Holmes is going to try to pick him up, and Holmes gets knocked flat for his effort. He got in the way long enough to keep Pepper out of the play.
There weren't a lot of Pepper Johnsons playing against Portland State.
Now Tim Jacobs comes in and replaces Langham.
And Turner is back in, and Kelly hands the ball to Thomas, and he moves through the middle, gets close to the 36-yard line on a 2nd and 3 play, so he's close to a first down with 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Well, Turner's back in now. The good news for the Browns is that he's back at safety. So they do have both of their safeties in the game now, in Moore and Turner, but it's going to be a real question, I think, here, guys, to monitor and see how effective Eric Turner is.
Gary Lane calling for a measurement. And it will be 3rd down and that much. Cleveland Stadium, home of the Browns since the Browns came into the National Football League. Their lease here expires after the 1998 season, and there's been intense speculation as to what will happen to the Browns after that point. 3rd down, inches. Thomas picks up 2 yards and those inches, and it's a first down for Buffalo.
That came close to breaking for Thurman Thomas, who has had really tough sledding in the early going of this season. He was averaging under 3 yards a carry. His career is well over 4 yards per carry. Still a lot of football left in this guy.
You're right, Frank. He got by everybody. It was Eric Turner. I mean, Stevan Moore, rather, who had to come all the way across and make the hit.
First down from the 33-yard line. And Reed makes the catch, but gets hit immediately. Isaac Booth, second-year corner out of the University of California, making the stop. 2:35 left. Opening quarter. The Browns, an opening day loss and then 3 straight wins. The Bills 2-1 coming in.
Browns going totally against the Bills. No huddle offense with the nickel defense. 5 defensive backs.
Kelly on 2nd and 7 hits Thomas, and Thurman picks up the first down. He gets taken down at the 21-yard line by Isaac Booth. So Kelly back in the K-gun is what they call it. The no huddle. It's a misnomer in a way to refer to it as the hurry up, because the way the Bills deploy it from time to time, they also control the clock and the ball with it. At the 22-yard line, Derek Holmes giving Thurman Thomas a breather, takes it to the 19-yard line.
Yeah, Holmes had a great preseason. He outrushed all the other NFL backs. They were kind of stunned with his ability. He is a natural runner. Al outlined some of the problems he had in Southern California, Pasadena City College, but he had an outstanding 2 years up at Portland State.
2nd and 7. Kelly incomplete. Only his second incomplete pass. Lonnie Johnson, the intended receiver, and there's a flag down on the other side of the field at the line of scrimmage.
They may get Holmes for a chop block. Holmes that time went to the side and put a chop on the defensive end for the Cleveland Browns coming upfield. When a defensive end is battling the offensive tackle, you can't come in and hit him below the waist.
Personal foul, chop block, number 44 and number 74 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Mike Frederick is number 94, and you see him there working against Glenn Parker, and here comes the chop block right here.
Well, this is
that's a good
way
call
to see
by the
why they don't allow that. Had that foot been planted, that could have been a full-blown knee right there.
Yeah, you just can't do it, and that's a good job by the official all the way over on the sidelines at spotting that thing.
12th play of this drive. It is 2nd and 22. And it's dropped by Holmes. So the rookie has one in his hands and can't hold on, making it 3rd down and 22 at the Cleveland 34-yard line.
One of the things we asked Marv Levy this morning about his ability, Derek Holmes, to catch the football. He evaded that a little bit. I think we got our answer. He swatted that one.
Well, Holmes goes to the sidelines now, and on this 3rd down play, he's replaced by Thurman Thomas, but that pass right there from Jim Kelly. Thomas now the setback.
13th play of a drive that has only consumed 36 yards. And on 3rd and 22, it is caught by Russell Copeland. And he is well short of the first down, but certainly puts them well within Christie's field goal range. Johnson and Booth make the tackle. They'll spot the ball at the 20, and that'll set up about a 37 or 38-yard attempt for Christie.
And any question about the arm of Jim Kelly, he answered it right there. A deep 16, 17-yard out. He put it on a string.
And a very potential points-producing pass, as they were nowhere near field goal range.
Christie now a 38-yard attempt. Chris Moore, the holder.
See, that just goes down as another completion by Jim Kelly, but in reality, that was a 3-point pass.
Sets Christie up to give Buffalo the lead with 50 seconds remaining in the first quarter at Cleveland Stadium. The Buffalo Bills on top, 10-7.
And the buildings in this city, which is in the midst of a real feel-good love-thon with itself, as well they should. The Cleveland Browns, one of the best teams in the NFL, and of course their beloved tribe, enters postseason play tomorrow night for the first time in a long time, over 4 decades.
A lot has happened in this city this past summer. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opening here. Downtown Cleveland, if you haven't been here in the last few years, give it a try. They've done a marvelous job of rebuilding in the downtown part of the city.
Next week we move to Kansas City. Arrowhead Stadium will be the site, and the San Diego Chargers will try to rebound after the loss yesterday at the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers, taking on the red-hot Kansas City Chiefs next week from Arrowhead on Monday Night Football.
I remember being in this stadium a lot of times in the late 50s and early 60s, watching Rocky Colavito and that whole group.
You could have been watching me.
We were there with, my dad and I would be there with about 5,000 other people.
Christie's kick. This is Ernest Hunter. He breaks a tackle, and they finally corral him up at the 29-yard line. Broke a would-be Carwell Gardner tackle to take it out close to the 30.
This stadium, old, damn it. It's a wonderful place to play. I played so many years here against the Browns, and it was kind of a magical feeling when you come out to this big arena with 80,000 people in it. It's rather awesome.
I think it was a tough place for the Indians to play, though, in those lean years, because this ballpark looks mighty bad with 10,000 or less in here.
50,000 looks empty.
Well, sure, even if you have, a crowd of like 35,000, you were still less than half full.
Right, it looks like there was a bomb scare.
Now they've got Jacobs Field, and that's as beautiful a park as any in baseball. Browns now waning seconds of the quarter. First down from the 30-yard line. Leroy Horde takes it up to the 34-yard line. That's a gain of 5. He is tackled there by Cornelius Bennett.
Last year's leading rusher. We haven't heard much from him tonight, but we haven't heard much from the rushing game of the Browns, period.
Coming into the game, Horde, their leading ground gainer, averaging 4 yards a carry.
And the Browns as a team averaging less than 100 yards a game, 97.
Problem with Horde, as we just noted, he puts the ball on the ground a lot. 2nd and 5. Catch is made for a first down. That's Andre Rison hauling it in at the 42-yard line, and that will be the end of the first quarter. With the score, the Buffalo Bills 10, the Cleveland Browns 7, and Monday Night Football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
If you've got heartburn, you've got some new choices, Pepcid AC and Tagamet HB. They're not the same. One small Pepcid AC acid controller does what even 2 Tagamet HB can't claim. Pepcid AC controls acid for 9 hours, that's all day, or prevents heartburn all night. And only Pepcid AC has no drug interaction warnings. But don't take my word for it. Ask your doctor or pharmacist. They'll recommend Pepcid AC too, the strongest, longest acid controller.
To you, it looks like this. To a car thief, it looks like this. And to Ford Motor Company engineers, it looks like the most powerful anti-theft device ever. Only this key sends an electronic code to the engine before it will ever start. So it looks like your new Taurus will be just where you parked it. Ford. Quality is job one.
This is ABC.
It really is a remarkable step forward.
When the world leaders of aircraft manufacturing unveiled their latest technology, Cake News 10 delivered the most comprehensive coverage.
This plane will have a very positive impact on hiring at the Wichita plane maker.
As the aviation industry changes, so do the lives of so many Kansans. Because Kansas depends on it. It matters where you get your aviation news. Cake News 10, aviation coverage you count on. Watch Jeff and Grant for sports coverage you count on.
Eric Turner went into the locker room. We have not been told exactly what his problem is. It's something to do with the right leg. He had been in and out of the lineup. Of course, the key member of that secondary, Pro Bowler.
Second quarter begins. Cleveland from the 45-yard line. And Leroy Horde goes nowhere on a first down play. Loses a yard, maybe two. Monty Brown in there on the hit. And let's take a look at the numbers through the first 15 minutes of play with Buffalo on top by 3.
And not a lot happening, you see, with the Browns offensively. Only 37 total yards. There's 7 points, courtesy of Derek Alexander and the special teams. So a real slow start for this offensive team of the Cleveland Browns. Their line blocking hasn't been very crisp on the running game. Their backs haven't been hitting the hole hard. They're going to have to improve.
There's a toss to Ford. He gives it to Derek Alexander, the man who ran the punt back for a touchdown. And the sudden star of the Browns takes it all the way inside the 30 to the 27-yard line.
Oh, that was a brilliantly conceived play. Almost like returning a punt. You set a picket line up. It was beautifully set up, beautifully disguised, and came close to 6 again for Derek Alexander. You really run it like you do a punt. As the fake to Horde, he hands off to Alexander. Look at the blockers out in front. One of the key blocks was by Vinny Testaverde, who fanned back, made a block, and to help spring Alexander.
First and 10 at the 27-yard line. Then he hits Michael Jackson. He makes his first catch, and he's rolled down by Thomas Smith after a gain of 9.
It wasn't one of your great crushing blocks, but at least then he's showing that he's into this football game as a football player.
Hey, he got in the way.
He got in the way. That's what counts.
You're not asking your quarterback to drop a guy in his tracks.
He's 6'5". He's 230 pounds. That's a lot to get in the way.
I think all you have to ask of your quarterback is to be effective, and that was an effective block.
If they were to ask him, they would suggest he just get out of the way.
Hey, it's not like Vinny's some kind of a midget. The guy's 6'5", 230 pounds. He's big enough to protect himself.
Second and a long yard. And Horde gets tackled by Bruce Smith very close to a Cleveland first down with 12:45 left in the half, and Buffalo on top 10-7.
Browns using a lot of blocking off the wing, putting a tight end in motion. That time Frank Hartley comes banging in, but it's been tough going between the tackles trying to watch Hartley, number 48. You see him come in, and he's going to do a trap block on the inside. Ford comes right off his tail. It's just that Bruce Smith, unaccounted for, comes in and makes the play from behind.
Measurement. Talked about Gary Lane, a former quarterback, and he'll signal the first down. Lane actually played in 18 games in the NFL, mainly as a holder, but he started one game for Cleveland, the final game of the 1967 season, and threw 2 touchdown passes to a guy named Clifton McNeil. Gary Lane, the referee, the only referee in the league who is a former player.
And has become one of the very best referees in the NFL.
First and 10 at the 17-yard line. Fake, that buys time, but the secondary does its job, and Vinny's chased out of bounds, and that'll be recorded as a sack. Phil Hansen chased him out of bounds.
Vinny might have been better advised to throw that out of the end zone.
What is he doing? He can throw it to the sidelines. He's out of the pocket. Once you're outside the tackles, the
Well,
quarterback...
He knew he could. He shook his head once he stepped out of bounds, but that certainly is going to, when you think down the line to a possible 3 points, you're backing up Matt Stover.
Vinny Testaverde right here could
here.
just throw this to the guy holding the sideline marker. It doesn't make any difference. He takes a 7-yard loss for no reason whatsoever.
2nd and 17 from the 24. Vinny hit as he throws back to the end zone and dropped by Michael Jackson.
Oh, boy. What a strike by Testaverde. What a brilliant pass. Wide open is Michael Jackson, who I don't know if his concentration wavered because he was getting close to the back of the end zone or what.
A little bit of everything. The back of the end zone, and butting right up against the back of the end zone is the dog pound. Michael Jackson wide open. Testaverde got out of a lot of trouble and put it absolutely on the numbers. Should have been caught. And Michael Jackson knows that better than anyone.
Heard the footsteps of the goalpost. 3rd down, 18 from the 25-yard line. Pressure put on by Bryce Pop, and a bad-looking screen. Ernest Biner can't haul it in. It will be 4th down, and now we'll see Stover attempting about a 43-yard field goal.
It won't go down much as maybe a pressure as which they actually keep track of them now, but Pop is in his face. He forced that pass, forced the incompletion.
So Wade Phillips, the new defensive coordinator and the former head coach at Denver.
A real good series by the Browns up until those last 3 plays. Testaverde stepping out of bounds, taking a sack, a drop pass by Jackson, and a poorly set up screen.
43-yarder. Cooper puts it down for Stover, who leaves it off to the right.
Make it 4 in a row.
Stover had made 23 straight, missed one last week, and misses here.
One that should have got away.
And Jackson misses there. Still 10-7.
You've heard all about the many fabled wonders of the information superhighway. Starting with Windows 95, it's a lot easier to actually get somewhere on it. Start connecting. Start Windows 95.
If you're ever in the hot sun of Pismo Beach, California, and you happen to forget your sunglasses, it's good to know that Mike Wood stocks more than 1,000 pair, none alike, and none more than $10. You can always use some extra cash when you travel, which is why so many people are renting their cars from Alamo. So if you want a great deal on a rental car, just ask Alamo. You could have enough left over to be real cool, even when it's hot.
And then, come on! And then, let's go! And then, high in the hills with all the greenery, we're pruning the scenery with heavy machinery. We shut down our stores and put up our axes, and then.
Then we relaxes.
We're a Bush Penny!
Fully brewed from mountains of real beer taste, non-alcohol Bush NA.
Get back to work!
Tomorrow, stay with ABC News for Simpson verdict coverage. It begins with an extended Good Morning America at 7 a.m. Then the verdict live with Peter Jennings starting at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Immediately after the verdict, Barbara Walters with an exclusive live interview with attorney Robert Shapiro. And that's tomorrow. Plus more on an ABC News special at 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central tomorrow night. The verdict to be announced at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow morning. Back to football. 33-yard line. Buffalo has it after the missed field goal. Flag is down. Catch made by Lonnie Johnson, the tight end. A temporary 10-yard gain pending the penalty. There's the old QB, Gary Lane.
Offside. Number 85 on the offense, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Russell Copeland, the wide receiver, and Absolutely no reason for that. You line up as a wide receiver. You line up on the ball. You look down the line of scrimmage. Simple as that. You can see
Copeland, the bottom guy in your picture, and he's from that vantage point well across the line of scrimmage. Certainly helps out the Cleveland Browns, who dropped back into his zone and gave Lonnie Johnson far too much room underneath. I don't think it'll be long before the Bills come back to a play similar to that. Not well defensed by the Browns.
First down, 15. 11-12 left first half. Buffalo up 10-7. Kelly, low pass caught by Thomas, and he gets spun down. He broke out of Stevan Moore's grasp, but he slowed him down enough and was stopped at the 29-yard line. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Russell Athletic, for really tough athletic wear that can survive anything. Get Russell Athletic, get tough. Bud Light, if you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And Windows 95 from Microsoft. Where do you want to go today? Kelly wants to go 15 yards today on this play on 2nd and 15. And Andre Reed can't make the catch. Pepper Johnson with the interception, and they're going to say he was down by contact at the 40-yard line.
But it is
Reed hurt.
It is an interception and a monster collision. A monster collision between Andre Reed and Pepper Johnson. I mean, Pepper Johnson did it all on that play.
He caught the ball almost simultaneously with crashing into Andre Reed, and Reed is still down.
And this is apparent a collision between a 190-pound guy and a guy who weighs 240.
But Dan, Johnson's just reading the ball all the way. He had no primary coverage. He focused on the ball, caught it in the chest, and leveled Andre Reed.
This will be a great look at it right here.
That's a great look at it. Our director, Craig Janoff. That is a terrific look at Pepper Johnson reading the eyes of Jim Kelly.
Injury timeout for Reed.
Visa, the world's #1 card, presents Number 1. Although he carried the ball nearly 2,400 times, a combination of power and speed enabled him to compile the highest average gain per carry in NFL history. Who is this #1 rusher?
Recently, the Broncos and 49ers showcased their talents in Tokyo.
Love is a many splendid thing.
At Zone West Karaoke,
By your man. Blame it on the bossa nova. The dance of love.
where the players brought no ability to carry a tune, but did bring their Visa card.
Was it the moon?
Because Zone West can accept just about anything except American Express.
Everybody sing. It's the April rose that only...
In only 9 seasons, Jim Brown gained over...
Goodyear retailers have lowered prices on America's #1 brand.
Lower!
Everyday lows start at $19.99 and save 25% on other famous Goodyear tires. How low are the prices? Drop in and find out.
What do you get when you cross a high-quality conventional motor oil with an advanced formula synthetic? A revolutionary oil that protects better than regular oils, yet costs 40% less than full synthetics. Durablend from Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
Here comes Pepper Johnson into the Browns bench. Watch on the left. There's the immortal Jim Brown, who I can tell you used to be a lot more adept at getting away from linebackers.
The only time he used to run over them. Instead of catch him like that, of course, he's for several years now a consultant to the Cleveland Browns.
I
stayed on his feet.
In my estimation, the greatest running back ever to play the game.
No question in my mind.
Cleveland now after the intercept at the 41-yard line. And on an end around Hoyt to Michael Jackson, and he's going to throw a bomb for Andre Rison, but double coverage and picked off by Kurt Scholl.
There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. There's a flag back upfield.
A bad bomb. There was little or no chance to complete that.
There's Steve Crosby, the offensive coordinator of the Browns. And this one
Illegal
apparently...
motion, offense, 2 men moving at the snap. Penalties decline, touchback, first down.
Interception by Scholes, so Buffalo gets it at the 20-yard line. Wild and wacky first half with 10:21 to play. Buffalo by 3.
Presenting the no-fee Ford Citibank card. With every purchase, you get an amazing 5% Ford rebate that grows toward the purchase or red carpet lease of a new Ford or Lincoln Mercury, like an Explorer, a Continental, or even a Mustang. Which means you can save big and really knock down your monthly car payment. All with the superior services of Citibank. Call 1-800-374-7777 for the no-fee Ford Citibank card.
There's no stealing your thunder. Can't be contained. Fill me with wonder. Cool me off like rain. You're the part of me that's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me. Oh,
Identify yourself. Do you go for the gusto? Go out on a limb? Go full speed ahead? Go where no man has gone before? Or are you a cornflake eater? Guess not. You go for the adrenaline-pumping, milk-defying taste of Wheaties, made with wall-to-wall, indoor, outdoor, toasty, tasty, 100% whole wheat. A whole mouthful of flavor. It's the whole Megillah. So for taste that goes all out, go for the over-the-top taste of whole wheat Wheaties.
Now on the commemorative Cal Ripken Jr. box.
They're banging and blasting, gonna give each other grief. Gonna be a battle, the Chargers and the Chiefs. The Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron, Ohio, not far away. Blimp has come up from just south of Cleveland, providing the Scenics tonight on a spectacular night. Andre Reed is out. Report from the bench, a stinger. Bill Brooks is in. And on first down from the 20, Thurman Thomas swings to the outside. And that's a mammoth gain the way things have been going for Thurman this season. A 9-yard pickup, and he's run out by Stevan Moore. And the two have a little chat along the sideline.
Well, this Buffalo possession set up by the interception thrown by Michael Jackson. There's Steve Crosby, the coordinator. I can't fault him for calling this play. Remember, they had big success with Derek Alexander running an end around. So really, that set this play up. It's just Michael Jackson can't throw that thing into double coverage.
2nd and 2, and Thomas gets across the 30-yard line, and that's enough for a Buffalo first down.
You know, Jackson's got to have the discipline to pull that thing down and take off with it. Of course, he wasn't helped at the other end by the fact that Andre Rison just plain falls down. Watch Rison. He kind of trips over one of the Buffalo DBs and really not able to get in there and break that thing up, which he would have been able to do if he would have remained on his feet.
4-man rush on first down. Thomas takes the swing pass and picks up 3 and gets wrestled down by Stevan Moore. Now the Browns, we've seen Carl Banks, we've seen Antonio Langham and Eric Turner at various times limping off, but they are all back in the game right now.
Oh, and that was a good tackle by Moore, wasn't it?
Sure was. Lonnie Johnson out there trying to block for Thurman Thomas. One of the players that the Bills lost this past offseason was Pete Metzelaar, as a 50 or 60 reception receiver a year.
Throw up play. Thomas picks up 2, maybe 3. Stopped at about the 36-yard line. 3rd and 5 upcoming. Jim Kelly.
Also lost Don Beebe, both of Metzelaar's and Beebe going to Carolina. Beebe represented the speed, and Metzelaar's was a fine receiving tight end.
Reed still shaking off the effects of that stinger. 3rd down, 5. Derek Holmes is in the game. And they give it to the rookie out of Portland State, and he powers across the 40, and that's maybe close enough for a measurement.
Holmes says, I've got it. And running backs usually know.
See Jim Kelly calling that play at the line of scrimmage. If you've ever carried on a conversation with Kelly, he has really got a raspy voice, and I think I know why. Can you imagine how loud he has to yell to get that call out to the wide receivers on the road in a stadium like this?
Well, Holmes thought he had the first down, but he didn't. He's about a half-yard shy.
Steve Tasker, the special teams Pro Bowl, perennial Pro Bowler, is playing his first game tonight. Number 89, he's great on the punt coverage.
Chris Moore kicking. Keenan McCardle back to accept this kick as they give Alexander the kick off. McCardle fair catches it at the 12. 7:43 left in the half.
Dad?
Yeah?
There's something I want to tell you.
What is it, son?
Well, Dad, you're my dad. And I love you, man.
You're not getting my Bud Light, Johnny.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Ray, forget it, Johnny.
It's Visine season. Time for red, irritated eyes. Time for Visine, the only eye drop recommended by pharmacists 4-to-1 over any other brand. So effective, it gives you 100% of the relief you need. Visine, it gets the red out.
I thought I knew it all till you came. Now you cry and I don't know why. What are you thinking? Can you dream? So maybe I don't know it all. Like making the right decisions for your future. You're the helpless one, but I'm the one who needs a hand now.
There is more at stake now. Ask a Merrill Lynch financial consultant who can help with a plan and more ways to make the plan work than anyone else. The difference is planning. The difference is Merrill Lynch.
Where do germs live that surround your gums and teeth? Take the plaque scratch test to find out. We won't look. That film is plaque. To remove it and the germs, get this. Advanced formula plaques. Remove more plaque.
Tuesday on an all-new Murder One. The victim's secret diary has explosive revelations.
There'll be a lot of sweaty palms on the west side.
Murder One, Tuesday at a special time, 9/8 Central.
Elijah Pitts, a former great running back himself, the assistant head coach and running backs coach, sitting with Thurman Thomas, who's struggling in this early part of the season.
Cleveland has it. Lorenzo White is in the game for the first time at running back, and he sees immediate action, and the former Oiler powers his way up to the 20-yard line for a gain of 7. Monty Brown making the tackle. They're very deep at running back with Horde, Biner, their third down back, and then White giving Horde a breather.
And then they have
somebody
rookie
called Ernest Hunter.
Something called Ernest Hunter. Well put, Frank.
Has been electrifying at times and electrocuting at other times.
What's Bill Belichick refers to him as his flash.
Second down and 2. White again. Nice move to the outside to pick up a first down up to the 26. 7 minutes and the ball is loose. And the question is, was it loose before the whistle? And they say no. Still Cleveland football.
Lorenzo White, for a big man at 220-plus pounds, has the quickest feet of anyone I think I've ever seen play this game.
Well, he was always in the one-back offense in the run and shoot down in Houston. As we watch the conclusion of that play. And yes, Lorenzo White obviously on the ground well before the ball is wrestled loose by Henry Jones.
First and 10 at the 26. Testaverde throws, and Andre Rison stretches, reaches, and makes the catch. And he's into Buffalo territory.
Great diving catch. Andre Rison right between two defenders, right behind Kerner, and in front of the safety coming over.
And another perfect throw, Frank, from Vinny Testaverde. Those of you that watched him for years in Tampa, I know, are saying, can this be the same guy? Look how beautifully this ball is delivered to Rison.
In between two defenders. It had to be thrown here. It couldn't catch him on stride. And had it been a little further, Henry Jones would have been into the play.
25-yard gain. His longest gain in 4 games had been 15. Tonight he's caught one for 19, one for 25, and now Testaverde has to take a timeout. Timeout, Cleveland. Their first. 5:49 remaining in the half. Buffalo leading 10-7, and let's check in our New York studios with Brent Musburger. Brent?
The Seattle Mariners have reached the baseball playoffs for the first time in their 19-year history. Randy Johnson was overwhelming today in a one-game playoff for the Western Division title. He struck out 12 California Angels, gave up 3 hits, and the Mariners won easily 9-1. The Mariners jet east tonight, and they'll open against the New York Yankees tomorrow night. Coming up on the Lexus Halftime Report now, we'll have more on that stunning announcement out of Los Angeles that the jury has reached a verdict in the O.J. Simpson murder trial. Our Peter King is down in Dallas. He'll tell us the latest on injured quarterback Troy Aikman. Now back to the game.
Okay, Brent, Cleveland taking a timeout. First and 10 for the Browns at the Buffalo 49-yard line. Ernest Biner is in the game as the ace back in this set. One running back, 3 wideouts, and Vinny Testaverde going to the air, and he throws it to McCardle. Good spin move and a 9-yard gain brought down by Monty Brown at the 40-yard line. And shaken up is Mark Maddox.
Well, Maddox was trying to make the tackle, and he went sliding. That's Mark Maddox who missed the tackle, and in the process is sliding along, gets his leg caught underneath, and then as he comes back, hurts himself. Watch this. That's Maddox trying to get back into it, comes down and lands awkwardly on his right knee, and it bends all the way back underneath him, his right leg. Boy, just a case of him trying to hurdle the play, gets his left leg caught on top, and then comes down with all his weight on his right leg.
Cleats caught in the grass, and we're looking at his right knee.
Here it comes, number 55 over the top. That's where he catches his left, and right here.
He's trying to avoid stepping on somebody and gets the leg caught under him.
Boy, that looks like that could really be a problem for Mark Maddox. You hope it's not.
And a problem for the Buffalo Bills as well. They have a good quartet of starting linebackers and not a lot of depth, though, at that position.
Well, that's pretty true with most every team in free agency. When you get into a salary cap, you're talking about when you move down to the people who are the backups, you're moving down not only in salary, but certainly in capability. And Maddox, again, just trying to avoid getting involved in the pileup. And now they're helping him off, and he does look to be all right.
Well, it's one of the first things you look for is, can they put weight on that leg as they walk off? Or
will they let him?
It's certainly no guarantee that he's okay, but it's certainly a positive sign if you're looking for one.
2nd and 1 now at the 40-yard line. And Ernest Biner gets taken down by Cornelius Bennett as he reaches the 39, and that's close to a first down.
Well, what a fine play by this 5-time Pro Bowler. Works his way upfield, fights off the block, falls back to the inside, and Biscuit, as he's known in his 9th year out of Alabama, still one of the premier linebackers in this game.
Enough for a first down for the Browns.
See, just fights off the block of Reeves and then works back to the inside, plants Ernest Biner.
4:45 remaining in the half. Lorenzo White in the game. White with the football, and Smith is the first man to bring him down as he reaches the 36-yard line, helped out by Marlo Perry. Buffalo leading 10-7. When you look at Buffalo's schedule with the Jets and Seattle in the next couple of weeks, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the game, a win tonight against a very tough Cleveland team on the road, and they'd be 3-1, 2 winnable games coming up, then a Monday nighter at New England, and all of a sudden we're back again.
We're back.
That'll be the rallying cry.
They are well.
2nd and 6, and Vinny has it deflected and picks up his own deflection. Testaverde to Testaverde with an assist from Cornelius Bennett, and he takes it to the 27-yard line. Vinny to Vinny.
I wonder if the hook slide counts on that kind of a play. The ball deflected into the air. He became a running back. Watch this. Cornelius Bennett tries to get it himself.
Well, Vinny
Testaverde just attempted to knock it out of his hands and came up with it and gets the first down.
I think he did knock it out of his hands. It looked like Cornelius Bennett had this ball. Watch it when it comes back down. He's got that thing, and Testaverde swats it out of his hand. What a magnificent play by Vinny Testaverde.
Pitcher and catcher. First down, 28-yard line. Biner goes nowhere. Tackled at the line of scrimmage by Bennett.
That is just a brilliant play by Testaverde. You know, that's worth looking at again. Cornelius Bennett has an interception for sure. Look at that. Not only the presence of mind to knock it out, but then he one-hands it with his right hand and takes off with it. Some athleticism by Vinny Testaverde.
Basketball and a baseball player at Sewanaka High School out in Long Island, Floral Park, Long Island. He was a good athlete, not just a football player.
2nd and 9, and the catch is made by Ernest Biner at the 23-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 4.
Well, with the exception of that one play when on 1st down, Vinny Testaverde stepped out of bounds carrying the football. He has played a pretty impressive first half.
Well, you get the feel of his height, too. He doesn't sidearm the ball. Remember, Bernie Kosar had kind of that sidearm delivery, but he takes full advantage of his 6'5", and you got a good look at it right there. Sometimes it's very tough to get over your own men blocking the defensive line. He does it well. And now
Maddox limps off.
Limping off.
2-minute warning in Cleveland. It'll be 3rd down and 4 when we come back with 2 minutes to go in the half, and Buffalo up by 3.
It has 12 cylinders, 48 valves, 492 horsepower, and 1 antifreeze coolant to protect it all. Zerex. And now, the unique anti-corrosion protection of Zerex comes in a 3-pack, the perfect amount for the 2-car family. Zerex from Valvoline, now with a $5 rebate. Today's engines are made for Zerex. Also, care for your engine with Valvoline, the #1 choice of top mechanics.
From the directors of Menace to Society.
Have you been to Spain? Where the joy of laughing people make you happy again. And man, oh man, before you go home, catch a flight on.
Dead Presidents, a Hughes Brothers film rated R, starts Friday, October 6th.
For 1996, we redesigned everything. For a new style, a new spirit. Not because we want to be the best thing on the road, but rather the best thing in the air. The employee owners of Trans World Airlines, we're up to something good.
Tuesday at a special time, Jill's new friend gets too close for Tim's comfort.
We were just sitting out in the Camaro talking. It's no big deal.
I don't care. Camaro, what year? An all-new home improvement, Tuesday.
Cleveland, Ohio, on a sparkling Monday night. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan. Monday Night Football, Week 5. Buffalo leading by 3. 2 minutes to go in the half. And Cleveland with a 3rd down and 4 at the Bills' 22-yard line. Testaverde gives it to Ernest Biner. He picks up the 1st down on a 3rd and 4. They run it over the left side. He's tackled by Kurt Schulz, and there's a flag down.
That could be another face mask.
That appears to be the call.
Face mask. 5 yards, defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty tacked on to the end of the run. 1st down.
Kurt Schulz on the tackle and got his hand in there. Not a blatant one.
Biner making his break to the sidelines, and Schulz in that trail position. He just grazed his face mask. He had his hand on it. It didn't appear that he ever grabbed it. But that was enough to draw the attention of the official who threw the flag.
And enough to make it a 1st and goal from the 9-yard line.
A long way to the end zone.
White. 1.5 yards or so. 2nd down, goal.
Really a tough situation for any offensive coordinator and offensive team when you've got 1st and goal back around that 9 or 10-yard line. The defense is really condensed in the 19 yards that they have to work with, and it's where a lot of teams falter.
12th play of the drive coming up. Cleveland with 2 timeouts remaining. Clock ticking down to 1:20. 2nd and goal. Testaverde lost one. He had an open man. It was Walter Reeves.
You're going to get a holding call here, I think.
Yep, flag down and holding against Cleveland.
Yeah.
Reeves a big target at 6'4", at 270.
I think Orlando Brown, the big right tackle, number 77, was right in this.
Holding offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Orlando all of 6'7", 340. Has his guy work to the inside. Watch, there's Brown, 77. Or you can see Phil Hansen with the good rip move to the inside, and he's just driven to the ground by Thomas. Again, you see that left arm right up underneath the chin of Phil Hansen, and the Brownies still in a goal line situation. Only this time a long way away.
From the 16, second down goal. 1:12 to go. Fake to Biner, fake to Risen, and it is caught by Biner, and he takes it to the 14-yard line. A very slow developing and kind of strange call on a second and goal.
Trying to fake a reverse and come back with a screen. The Bills were right in the middle of it.
Well, Bryce Popp is the guy who is right in Testaverde's face. He comes off the corner, and he's actually so far outside that Orlando Brown, the tackle, tried to cut him and just couldn't get that far out to get him. There's Popp coming. Now watch Brown. He tries to cut him, but a nice hurdle by Popp, and he really blows that whole play for the Browns.
Third down and goal from the 13-yard line. Benny, good protection, and then overthrows Risen. Coverage wasn't bad. Greg Evans was there. Risen had very little room to maneuver, and Cleveland will have to settle for a game-tying field goal attempt to the chagrin of Crosby.
But at least, Frank, as you well know, if you're going to make a mistake there by Vinny Testaverde, make the mistake of overthrowing your receiver, not underthrowing. You don't want to get your team out of an opportunity to score.
Stover now with Tupa to hold. This is a 32-yard attempt. Earlier he missed a 43-yarder. And this time he bangs it through.
The line drive through.
So the Cleveland Browns tie it up with 18 seconds remaining in the first half.
And again, illustrating how tough it is to get in that end zone from that 9 or 10-yard line when you've got first and goal. Hard work.
College football Saturday, Notre Dame against the Washington Huskies, coming your way at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific. And before that, Ohio State, number 5, the Buckeyes rolling, taking on the Penn State Nittany Lions, trying to rebound after their defeat at the hands of Wisconsin this weekend. College football, a doubleheader coming your way this Saturday right here on ABC.
And the Ohio State Buckeyes, another reason that there's a lot of feel-good in the state of Ohio about their sports teams, the Browns, the Indians, and the Buckeyes with that big win this past weekend over Notre Dame. They're flush with sports excitement here in Ohio.
Well, we didn't discuss that 31-0, did we? SC.
Who was that they played, Frank?
That was.
Was it Arizona State?
Excuse me? Well, we've got a good track and field team. Stover sends it down to the 25-yard line. And this is Chris Green running it back up to the 39. Again, a report from Dallas at the half in terms of Aikman and the update on Troy's injury from yesterday. Also with the Simpson verdict coming in and to be read tomorrow, we will check in with Cynthia McFadden, ABC's legal analyst who has been covering the trial in Los Angeles, coming up on our Lexus halftime report.
By the way, as I'm talking about all the teams in Ohio, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Cincinnati Reds.
Yes, sir.
You'll be seeing them later in the week, huh?
You bet, against the Los Angeles Dodgers. That series begins tomorrow in L.A. and moves to Ohio over the weekend. A kneel down by Kelly ends the first half at Cleveland. The halftime score, the Buffalo Bills 10 and the Cleveland Browns 10. And back we come after this word from our ABC station. Cleveland Stadium looks normal from the air, but inside it's like the Fog Bowl. There's no wind here tonight. They shot off all of those fireworks at the half, and there's the residue.
Thought the first one was going to get you. Your hair went straight up in the air.
I don't know how you didn't. I don't know how you didn't flinch. I jumped.
Stover kicks off. into the murk, and it's fielded at the 12-yard line by Derek Holmes, and we think he gets back to the 30. And there's a flag down up at the 39-yard line.
How do you know? Well, there it is.
ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. And Miller Lite, when you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good. Gary Lane will make the call momentarily. Tony Klein of Buffalo and Michael Bates of the Browns are the two involved players.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 83 on the receiving team, number 88 on the kicking team. Penalties offset, first down.
And our eagle eye spotter, Malibu Kelly Hayes, picking out both guys for you. Michael Bates and Tony Klein, and pushing and shoving and all of the rest, and draws the flag, and the end result is the same as it would have been had that not happened. Marv Levy, 10th season at the helm of the Bills. Marv is listed in the book as 67. He'd be the oldest coach in the National Football League. Our spies, however, tell us, well, never mind what our spies tell us. From the 30-yard line, Kelly throws, and in and out of the hands of Lonnie Johnson, who probably couldn't find it.
Well, I mentioned earlier, one of the players they miss on this Bills team is the tight end, Pete Metzelaars, who in the last 2 years had 117 receptions. He was a key third down man, along with Beebe, who stretched the field vertically for them. They missed Beebe, and they missed Metzelaars.
2nd and 10, game tied. Everybody knew the snap count, I think, except Ken Hull, the center.
No, I think everybody knew it except Jim Kelly, the quarterback.
Maybe.
Number 12 on the offense.
I think Jim Kelly. That's a good call by the officials to call that on Kelly as a false start, because he backs out. Sans football.
Sans.
2nd down and 15 from the Buffalo.
2nd and 15 at the 25-yard line. 14 seconds into the third quarter. Kelly, and it's caught by Andre Reed, who was shaken up in the first half and spent a lot of time on the sidelines. Back in now, a little short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and a yard.
Boy, does Jim Kelly take a shot right in the knee. Rob Burnett, the defensive end, fell right on Kelly, and he got up limping a little bit. You know, Jim's had a history of knee problems. Take a look at number 90, Rob Burnett, as he goes right into the knee of Jim Kelly, and he's definitely hobbling.
Let me correct it. 3rd down and 11 at the 29-yard line. And it is Thurman Thomas picking up the first down, getting into Cleveland territory. Finally tackled at the 45 by Stevan Moore. So 3rd and long, and it's Kelly to Thomas, and that's got a ring to it, doesn't it?
Yes. It's happened before, hasn't it? Kelly to Thomas, Kelly to Reed. Take your pick.
Kelly now 13 of 16, and coming all the way across the field, Thurman Thomas, who we were told would be used as a receiver tonight. Many times they're going to put him on the outside, and when they do that, they'll bring in the rookie Derek Holmes.
From the 45-yard line, Thomas breaks a tackle in the backfield, and Thurman picks up 8 to the 37-yard line. Dan Footman brought him down. Anthony Pleasant had him and couldn't drop him for what would have been no gain or a loss.
Thomas only in his 8th year coming into the match. He had handled the ball over 2,500 times for the Bills, and if you go back to Oklahoma State, they used him over 800 times there, and he gets a little breather as Derek Holmes is in.
Holmes, the rookie, takes it to the 32-yard line. Derek Holmes was not only picked in the 7th round, which is the last round, but he was a compensatory pick. They add extra draft choices at the end of that round, depending on how many free agents you lose. So they expand the draft, and that's how they picked up Holmes. Otherwise, he would have been a free agent. Reed makes the catch, seeks the first down, and is very close. And that's the 620th time that Kelly and Reed have linked on a pass, and they are the greatest pitch and catch combination in NFL history. Not in terms of touchdowns, but in terms of completions.
I think Marino and Clayton are #1 in that respect.
Right. This is a little out to Reed, but there is nobody better coming across the middle than Andre Reed either.
And he got the first down, and here is Derek Holmes finding room through the middle. Turner brings him down after he picks up 5.
You know, if you change jerseys, put a 34 on him, he looks a lot like Thurman Thomas. They run in a very similar fashion, sort of a wide stance, a little shuffle step, a quick cut, very quick off the ball.
The major difference, he's about 25 pounds heavier than Thurman.
He's 20.
Andre Reed closing in on 700 receptions.
Here's Holmes on 2nd and 5, and he gets taken down inside the 15-yard line. It'll set up a 3rd and a deuce with 11:40 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Buffalo and Cleveland tied 10-10.
And that solitary figure coming in is Thurman Thomas. Big 3rd and 2 for the Bills.
Third and a short 2. Kelly buying time off his back foot, and he just flings it into the pound. And he gets pounded.
Tried to give a Rawlings biscuit to the dog crowd.
Well, it was excellent coverage by Stevan Moore against Lonnie Johnson. Kelly was locked up with him all the way. He wanted to go with him, and it was just good coverage on the part of Moore.
Yeah, because the protection right away, Frank, you're right, is adequate. He's forced out by the inside rush of Anthony Pleasant, but nobody anywhere downfield was open.
Now a 30-yard field goal attempt off the foot of Steve Christie. Chris Moore puts it down, and Christie bangs it right through. Officially 31 yards. Buffalo back on top. 11-10 remaining in the 3rd in Cleveland, where the Bills now lead the Browns 13-10.
Black & Decker presents How Would You Fix It?
$2. Thank you. Tonight's question: how would you fix the Browns offense?
I expect more from Testaverde and the Browns offense.
Vinny's thrown it. We don't have any catchers out there tonight.
The Bills are doing a good job. We can't get our running game going.
If I was Belichick and Modell, I'd start playing Zaire. We got to look to the future.
If I was Vinny, I would give those receivers some of that sticky stuff to put on their fingers. That's how I'd fix it.
No one can save you now.
Hey, bet we could.
Fools, we will defeat you and take your Miller Lite. Not if we choose the weapon. Paper football, very clever. You kick off.
It's good. We are saved.
When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. You are worthy opponents. Let us celebrate. I know a good sports bar around the corner. Life is good.
5 years ago, I started hauling cars for Saturn. Man, that was something. People want to know all about them.
What kind of car is that? The Saturn. Can I get it with a sunroof?
Can I get one with leather?
Yeah, you can get it with fog lamps. And just when I can explain everything about these cars, these are the dent-resistant doors. Saturn decides to change things and come out with new ones. Oh, well. Here we go again.
The Dog Pound, the fabulous section K9 here at Cleveland Stadium. Now they got cigars down there. Victory cigars, they hope.
We asked Bill Belichick, there's one wish that he could have, what would it be? And he didn't even hesitate. They'd like to score some points. Yeah, they're right on top of the league again in allowing points, but they're not putting points up themselves.
Moore's kick taken by Ernest Hunter. And the rookie, who will dazzle you from time to time, takes it back up to the 39-yard line. Sam Rogers makes the hit.
Pretty flashy right there. He's out of Southeast Oklahoma State. A free agent, and he can be great, and he can get you in trouble.
Spirit of Akron, the Goodyear blimp, hovering high above Cleveland Stadium. And next week we will take our traveling show to Kansas City. Arrowhead Stadium is the site. San Diego against the Chiefs next Monday night. 1st and 10 Browns. They trail by 3. Early 3rd quarter. Leroy Hoard is the running back. Testaverde hits Rison. That's a 13-yard gain in the first down of the Buffalo 48-yard line. You know, Bill Belichick, when we're talking about points, Belichick said if we can score 20 points, we're going to win a lot of games, and it is really borne out by the figures.
Another bullet from Vinny Testaverde. Not very simple slant in by Andre Rison, but the ball right on the hip, right in front. Vinny having an excellent game.
Here's Hoard. Now 20 points is not a lot. The average team scores about 20 points a game. But when the Cleveland Browns score 20 points, they're almost perfect. When they score more than 20 in a game, they've won 19 straight games, the longest streak in the league.
They were the best in the league last year. They had the fewest points scored, 204 points. So it stands to reason if they can get 20 points up, they're going to win it.
So what's that tell you? They play excellent defense.
They play great defense.
You get some yards against the Browns, but boy, is it tough to get across the goal line.
Fewest points allowed in the league last season. 2nd down 6. Vinny going deep for Michael Jackson, and it's incomplete. And the official took a real close look, and the back judge, just for an instant, looked like he was going to go into the back pocket and said no. Good legal coverage, Thomas Smith.
And the other thing he's taking a close look at is how long did Michael Jackson hold on to the football.
There is a flag, though, back upfield to the line of scrimmage.
And Jackson seems like he has got a problem.
Holding offense, number 66, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That's Tony Jones, who's going one-on-one with Bruce Smith. They've been locked up together a lot tonight. Jones, one of the best pass blocking tackles in the NFL. He gets caught when Bruce Smith makes another patented move back to the inside as he goes after Testaverde. There's the upfield rush. Then Smith works back to the inside. And boy, Jones pulled his arms out of there in a hurry. It didn't appear to me on that he held Bruce Smith. That was a nice job by Jones of getting his hands out of there. Didn't seem to slow Bruce Smith down at all.
One Smith on one end and the other on the other end. Busting that play up as the catch is made here by Derek Alexander, who ran the punt back for the touchdown in the first half. He's tackled at the 44-yard line. And that will make it 3rd down and 6.
Well, Derek Alexander has got big play written all over him. It should be a mission of the Cleveland Browns to get the football in his hands as many times as they can during the course of a football game. This guy explodes every time he has it.
3rd down and 6. The key for him has to be to catch the ball. He had a problem last year in the playoff game with Pittsburgh with the early drops. And he throws, and the catch is made by Andre Rison, and that's a 1st down at the 30-yard line.
Here's a man who doesn't drop him very often, and what a remarkable career he had. He came into tonight only with 9 receptions, and he was averaging 80 receptions over the past 6 years at Atlanta. And perhaps the best thing about Andre Rison is the way he's handled this. He said, my time will come.
Well, it's coming
Good little
tonight.
move there. A little sprint that Burris bought all the way, came back to the ball, and well thrown by Testaverde.
Well, his time is tonight. He only had 9 receptions coming into tonight's game. He already has 5 for 83 yards in this contest right here. So Vinny and Andre starting to work it out.
He's already exceeded his total from the first 4 games, and this play is dead before it starts. Whistles blow.
Prior to the snap, false start, 87 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Keenan McCardle.
Yeah, we've seen a false start by a wide receiver for the Browns. We saw Russell Copeland, a wide receiver for the Bills, line up in the neutral zone. Wide receivers making some silly mistakes tonight.
Well, you look at those two coaches. I mean, football has been their life. Bill Belichick, as young as he is, he's been in the game for so many years. And Marv Levy goes all the way back to what, high school in St. Louis?
Yeah, St. Louis Country Day School. It was his first coaching job.
Belichick, I mean, he looks like a kid. It's his 21st straight season as a coach. And Testaverde may have had his arm jarred as he got it away.
I think Cornelius Bennett.
Yep. Just got enough of the arm.
What has been to make a lot of plays. So many forced fumbles over the career, so many fumbles recovered. He is great in pursuit from the backside. He has tremendous speed. Has caused so many fumbles.
Well, he goes so far upfield on that play. I'm sure Tony Jones, the left tackle, thought he had him blocked. But, geez, he gets there just enough to get his fingertips on the arm of Testaverde and aborts the throw.
Second and 15. Vinny looks to set up a screen and then throws one into the foot.
Smart play.
Bruce Smith.
Smart play. He sees that's busted and ruined by the Bills, and Vinny Testaverde, that's not a bad throw. That's an excellent throw. That's one of his best throws of the night.
There were Bills crawling all over that screen, and Vinny knew it, and he just threw it right at the feet of Bruce Smith. Everybody reading it. Bennett moving to the outside. Bruce Smith moving to the outside.
Dead play, and Vinny knew it and finished it. That's the equivalent of a basketball player right on the baseline throwing it into the feet of an opponent to keep possession of the ball.
Third down and 15. And a timeout is called here with 7:41 remaining in the third quarter. Timeout, Cleveland.
Hi, Julie. We've been expecting you.
Todd, reception, please. You have a guest.
Julie.
Hi, Todd.
Are you excited? What do you say we go look at your car?
I'd love it. Okay. Is that my car?
This is Julie, and this is her first new car.
Critics declare Assassins a superb thriller. Stallone is on top of his game. Banderas is terrific.
Between you and him, right?
If I could give 5 stars, I'd give 6.
You and me!
Sylvester Stallone, Antonio Banderas, Assassins. Directed by Richard Donner. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 6th at a theater near you.
Just a reminder that may help you keep those arteries nice and clear. 100% pure Florida orange juice. Fat-free and cholesterol-free. Are you drinking enough?
Guess which motor oil more top mechanics use in their own cars and trucks over any other oil? Valvoline. The #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
Tuesday on an all-new Murder One, the victim's secret diary has explosive revelations.
There'll be a lot of sweaty palms on the west side.
Murder One, Tuesday at a special time, 9/8 Central.
Well, on the right is Art Modell, the longtime owner of the Cleveland Browns. Senator Alphonse D'Amato is the man smoking the cigar on the left as the
Senator Alf Long Island. I presume he's here because of Vinny Testaverde.
The gang looks on. Third down and 15 at the 34-yard line, and this is Ernest Viner on a 3rd and long, taking it to the 29, provoking the chorus of boos. And it will set up a long field goal attempt in an effort to tie the game.
And we think the senator could be rooting for Buffalo.
I would think that would be the honorable thing for a senator from New York State to do. Buffalo, quick to tell you, the only team in New York State.
Yes. 47-yard field goal attempt now for Stover. Tupa puts it down. Stover's kick is good. Matt Stover bangs it through. And the Browns catch him again. 6:59 left in the third, and the game tied 13-13.
Fourth and inches. Coach Bannon, he likes to punt.
Huh? No way. Whoa. Check this out.
Attention, Coach Bannon. Go for it. Be a man.
Oh, what are you doing?
show Steve they're going to go for it. Just a reminder, when you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good.
Do you like my new hat?
Kozak drops back to pass.
Jones is open in the end zone.
Throws it to Jones, who dropped the ball. Bad toss. Should have punted. Yep.
As the official airline of the 1996 Olympic Games, Delta is setting the pace for business travelers with an event of its own, the Around the World Relay. It's a team event, coordinating thousands of flights a day to cities throughout the world. So you can go from one plane to another, one place to another, in record time. Delta Airlines.
If you ever end up in some Ben-Hur movie in your all-new Pontiac Sunfire GT, with its powerful twin-cam engine, you'll be glad you have a quick-handling sport suspension. And, of course, 150 horses. Introducing the all-new Pontiac Sunfire GT. Finally, a real set of wheels you can really afford.
Tuesday at a special time, Jill's new friend gets too close for Tim's comfort.
We were just sitting out in the Camaro talking. It's no big deal.
I don't care. Camaro, what year?
An older home improvement, Tuesday.
It's Michael Jackson on the sidelines. We mentioned earlier that on that long pass pattern where Thomas Smith knocked it away, he limped back to the sidelines, and we understand that he has a groin pull. Starting wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns.
Stover to kick off now. The game time 13-13. The kick comes down into the arms of the rookie, Derek Holmes. And he doesn't get any blocking, and down he goes at the 18. Mike Caldwell, the first to make contact with him. 6:50 remaining in the third quarter. Cleveland Browns will go to Detroit next week. And the Cleveland Browns, 57 straight games without allowing 4 touchdowns in a game, and that's the longest streak in the NFL since 1937. And it speaks volumes about their defense, the way they played under Bill Belichick, and that's pretty much why he was brought here. Kelly, no screen to the left. He's got a ton of room to run, but opts to throw it into the arms of Andre Reed, and the flag comes down after the play, after Reed picks up a first down at the 32-yard line.
Linemen downfield, they were all over the place.
Yeah, Kelly had about as much room to run as Bono did yesterday in that game in Phoenix. Well, not quite, but you get the idea.
No, not quite. I was still waiting for a Cardinal to show up in that anywhere on the screen during that entire run.
Downfield, number 75 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, as soon as we find a 75
there
on
is
the
none.
Buffalo offense, we'd be glad to tell you who that is.
Yep. But he was ineligible. Whoever he was.
First and 15. Kelly into the tight end's hands. That's Lonnie Johnson. Johnson didn't catch a pass in the first 3 games, and then fielded 7 last week and catches it at the 21.
Cleveland's been vulnerable to the pass to the tight end, too. They've been worked over pretty good. New England coach had 7 or 8. When Jackie Harris came in, he had 8.
And Cash last week
had 7.
Had a big game for Kansas City last week.
2nd and 8. Reed makes the catch, tackled at the 26, short of the first down by a couple. Langham makes the stop, and it will be 3rd down and about 2.
When you want it, when you need it, it's tough not to go after Andre Reed. This guy, every catch just takes one step closer to Canton, Ohio. This is a guy only in his 11th year in great shape. You have to think he's going to go for a long time.
3rd and a long 2, and Thurman Thomas gets up close to the 30. I think he has it.
This will be an interesting spot.
Pepper Johnson makes the tackle. And yeah,
an excellent spot.
Yeah, right up there near the chalk, and that's enough for a first.
The Browns fans here, the faithful, think it's far too generous a spot. A smattering of boos. Kind of half-hearted boos, though.
5:05 left. We're in the third quarter. The game tie 13-13 in Cleveland. First down. And Thurman Thomas swings to the outside. Thurman Thomas out past the 40. And a flag goes down as Thomas gets to midfield. A marker down back at the 33-yard line. Justin Armour is going to be called for holding. Bring back his Thurman Thomas' longest run of the season.
Boy, the second big penalty against Buffalo in this series alone. The ineligible receiver downfield cancels a big pass from Kelly to Reed, and now, as you say, Frank, Thurman Thomas's longest run of the season is wiped out. It's tough enough to beat your opponent without having to beat yourself as well.
Offense, number 84, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
This has been from the outset. They have been making mistake after mistake. The Cleveland has not played. They played rather sloppy too, but for Buffalo, this has been horrendous. That makes it first down and 20. Total of 14 penalties in the game. And Kelly has the ball jarred loose, and the Browns have the football.
Anthony Pleasant, number 98, gets in there and swats the ball away from Jim Kelly. Anthony Pleasant comes into tonight's game with 4 sacks.
And Rich McKenzie, who hasn't gotten a call all night, who was in on that play, is the guy who recovers it.
Boy, what a big play by the Browns' big-time pass rusher, Anthony Pleasant. And like you say, McKenzie, he's the guy who's fortunate enough to be there when the ball comes out. And look at that, it comes right to him. And the Browns again get another opportunity to take the lead in this ball game. Boy, great effort by Pleasant.
Working against probably the best offensive lineman, Glenn Parker. Fourth game in a row in which Pleasant's had a sack. First and goal from the 7. Ford to the outside. And banged out of bounds by Henry Jones. Pop made him go wide, and then Jones takes him down. One day, Pop has played some game tonight. He has pressured the passer. He's been at the point of attack for the run, and in great pursuit there. Holds Horde to literally no gain.
Well, once you get up Leroy Horde's shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage, you have done your job defensively. That's exactly what Pop was able to do right there.
Second and goal at the 5. 4:15 left, third quarter. The game tied at 13. Vinny, chased by Bennett, throws incomplete, intended for Biner. Cornelius Bennett that time with the big rush to put him down as he released. Third and goal. Bring Bennett on one side, Bruce Smith on the other. You better get rid of it quickly. Steve Crosby sending in the play. Crosby, a former Giants running back in the 70s, and started his coaching career with Miami, went on to Atlanta and New England, and second time around here at Cleveland, he's the offensive coordinator.
He better go deep into the goodie bag here.
Risen goes to the right. Alexander and McCardle split left. Vinny looking left, throwing incomplete, tried to jam it in to Alexander. And so the Bills come up big, and Cleveland will have to settle for a field goal attempt. Marlon Turner breaking the play up.
Boy, an interesting choice on a quick slant at the goal line. That Derek Alexander is the choice of Vinny Testaverde. He's really well covered, but he's not the surest-handed receiver on the Browns. And he has it and has it knocked right out.
Turner, the rookie out of Ohio State, making a pretty good play, and that could well have drawn a flag. 23-yard field goal attempt. Chip shot for Stover, and he boots it through, his third of the night. So they have 3 field goals and a punt return to account for the scoring. And the Cleveland Browns, with Pepper Johnson dancing, have danced out to a 3-point lead.
It begins with a sound you can feel. Over 200 horses, powerful, almost angry. It knows your mind with steering that feels your speed. It's a new Pontiac Bonneville. So strong, so passionate. It takes the old idea of spending thousands more for a European European performance sedan and leaves it at the side of the road. The new Pontiac Bonneville.
When you're Barry Sanders, one of the quickest men in the NFL, some days it seems like no one can touch you. No one can catch you. No one can even come close.
Anyway, coming through. Men on a Mickey D's mission. Sausage McMuffin with egg, 4-minute milers coming through.
Now you can convert $2 into 2 Morning Fresh Sausage McMuffins with egg, or 2 hot, tempting Quarter Pounders with cheese. But the clock's ticking, so hurry.
Hey, look who's here. Hey, Louis Lefty. Slow-mo Joe. Barry Sandbag.
Contained. You fill me with wonder and cool me all vibrating. You're a part of me, that's the heart of me. Without you, I'm just a lonely melody. But together we are harmony. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
Tomorrow, live at 12 Eastern, The Simpson Verdict, followed immediately by Barbara Walters' exclusive interview with Robert Shapiro, and later an ABC News special at 10, 9 Central.
Michael Jackson, done for the night. That's the familiar rap that played this game. You've seen a few of those, haven't you, Dan?
You got that right.
That's a wrap.
Looks like a high groin. You see how far up he was wearing the ice bag. Those can last a long time with a wide receiver, a running back.
Derek Holmes takes the Stover kick. And the rookie out of Portland State stays in bounds for a little extra yardage and then gets taken down up at the 33-yard line. Tomorrow night here on ABC, Home Improvement comes your way at a special time, 8 Eastern and Pacific, Hudson Street. Murder One at a special time, and that's all because of the ABC News special, The Simpson Verdict, to be read tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific, and then the ABC News special comes your way tomorrow night at 10 Eastern and Pacific at 9 Central. That's your Tuesday night lineup right here on ABC. 3:45 left in the third. Bills trailing as Thomas gets taken down after a minimal gain. And Antonio Langham was right there to stop him.
Antonio Langham, just another one of the members of the Cleveland Browns secondary that at various times tonight has been hurt. He, along with Stephon Moore and Eric Turner, all have been banged up. But boy, he gets down low right at the knees of Thurman Thomas and puts him down.
2nd and 9, play fake, and a good pass out to Justin Armour. And Armour is across the 45, and that's a first down.
Again, Armour, the 4th-round draft pick out of Stanford. Doesn't have a lot of speed, but he has some very good moves. He's very, very bright. And he is a big target. He's 6'4", 220 pounds.
Armour has scored the only touchdown of the game from scrimmage tonight on a pass from Kelly. Here's Thomas. The only Cleveland touchdown was the 69-yard punt return by Derek Alexander in the first quarter. Buffalo led early 7-0 and Cleveland tied it. Buffalo went up 10-7 and Cleveland tied it. Buffalo went up 13-10 and Cleveland tied it. And now the Browns for the first time in the game with the lead. Kelly. And that's Armour who breaks the tackle and picks up the first down, and Justin Armour gets it to the 35-yard line. Tackled by Mike Caldwell.
Armour's had a whole bunch of records out at Stanford. They throw the ball around out there quite a bit, but he had 154 career receptions. Again, I'll just point out what a terrific target he is. He's big, 6'4", 220 pounds. They like it.
Thurman Thomas. Ooh. Try to spin it back. You know, the one thing we haven't pointed out tonight, this field is a little different because of a rock concert in concert with, no pun intended, the opening of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame recently, and you've really got a chewed-up surface.
Parts of this field have had to be resodded. Some parts of this field, mostly at the other end of the field, are much softer, and the field actually appears to be holding up better tonight than it has in the past. I think it's gone from really bad to just maybe okay.
Kelly makes the change.
2nd and 10. Holmes. Derek Holmes, the rookie, is inside the 20-yard line on the first down. Turner stopping them at the 19. And Thurman Thomas salutes the guy who may someday take his job.
I'll tell you, Holmes, he was not looking to make a cut. Eric Turner, I think, was setting up to make a tackle on a cut, and Holmes just bowled right into him. Holmes goes about 220 pounds. Now watch this. There's no juking and jiving here. It's just boom.
Holmes again. Derek Holmes to the 12. That's a 7-yard game.
Boy, this is something that Cleveland is not used to, and that's someone taking the ball and jamming it to them between the tackles.
And another Brown is shaken up.
That appears to be Rich McKenzie, number 99.
Rich McKenzie was also on the stop.
The man who recovered the fumble earlier. 47 seconds left in the third. Buffalo trailing but threatening.
Goodyear retailers have lowered prices on America's #1 brand.
Lower! Lower! Lower!
Everyday lows start at $19.99 and save 25% on other famous Goodyear tires. How low are the prices? Drop in and find out.
If more top mechanics use one motor oil over any other brand in their own cars and trucks, maybe it's time you changed your oil. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
So in this equation, what is the slope of the curve?
At -2.3, the slope is 9.
Correct.
That's his 10th completion in a row. Man,
he's got skill.
He knows what he's doing. Some challenge.
Here we go, here.
Hey, this kid never fumbles.
Just check this out. Put it together, man. He's putting it all together. Smooth move.
50 players from the National Football League have recently proven themselves big fans of education.
Man, is he fast.
Together with NFL charities, these players have given $1 million gift to the College Fund.
Check it out.
Their strong show of leadership sends a message to young people that education is essential, that brains need developing as well as bodies. Thanks to their support, deserving kids will have the chance to achieve greatness.
Oh, he's unstoppable.
These NFL players agree. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Join them and support the College Fund.
As you no doubt know, the O.J. Simpson verdict will be read tomorrow. Good Morning America comes your way at 7 Eastern and Pacific time with extended coverage. And then live verdict coverage begins at noon Eastern. Robert Shapiro will be interviewed by Barbara Walters after the verdict. A live interview tomorrow right here on ABC. And then tomorrow night, a special, an ABC News special, the Simpson verdict, to wrap it all up at 10 o'clock Eastern and Pacific.
All these penalties, we may still be here.
Well, we have second down now and 2. Thurman Thomas back in the game. The ball at the 12. Second and a long 2. And Thomas finds enough room in the middle to get just inside the 10 and appears to be a little short of the first down.
Well, don't let anybody tell you that Thurman Thomas has lost any of his lateral quickness. He takes that ball intended to go over right guard and immediately makes a hop back to the left to get into a crease on the left side. And that is vintage Thurman Thomas.
There's speculation that Thurman Thomas now in his 8th year has slowed up, lost half a step or whatever. He never was fast to begin with. It's less Thurman Thomas than the offensive line with which he now works with, as opposed to the one that he has worked with over the years.
They gave him a real nice spot here.
Thurman, I believe, just 29 years old. So in this modern era of athletics where the players train year-round and keep themselves in much better condition than they did a couple generations ago, you'd have to think that Thurman Thomas is going to be a productive player for a couple years yet to come.
That's a nice enough spot for a first down, 1st and goal at the 9-yard line.
And again, this is tough territory.
Thomas taken down back at the 11-yard line by Tim Goad.
Well, that's a carbon copy of what he tried to do before. Start to the left, to the right, make the cutback, and this time, though, it wasn't there.
End of the third quarter, Cleveland 16, Buffalo 13. Monday Night Football back after this word from our ABC station.
Yeah, Buffalo's playing better than I thought they did.
Tuesday at a special time. Jill's new friend gets too close for Tim's comfort.
We were just sitting out in the Camaro talking. It's no big deal.
I don't care. Camaro, what year?
And all new home improvement. That is Tony from the Stone Age.
You're such an ape. You probably still base a relationship on scent.
I do not.
Legs are important, too.
An all-new Hudson Street, followed by an all-new Murder One at a special time. And an ABC News special on The Simpson Verdict. It's an all-new Tuesday starting at 8/7 Central with Home Improvement at a special time tomorrow.
Starfleet's boldest hero returns in the 2-hour season premiere of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Premiering October 8th on Kids Channel 10.
A penny saved is a penny earned. And here's a way to save a whole bunch of pennies. We call it Cadillac Savings Days. Inventories are up, smart lease rates are at a year-end low, and factory-to-dealer incentives let you save even more. In fact, drive home a Seville SLS at the rock-bottom low price of just $4.99 a month for 36 months with just $4.99 down. Offer ends October 4th, 1995. Cadillac Savings Days. You can bank on it.
This is a special announcement for all big screen customers from Midwest TV and Appliance. For just a few days only, every Mitsubishi Big Tube and Big Screen TV is yours free, interest-free, payment-free until January 1997. Yes, you heard right, including this 45-inch Mitsubishi Big Screen. Picture-in-picture, it's got it all, just $19.99. But remember, any Mitsubishi Big Screen or Big Tube TV is yours free until January 97. Go to Midwest today.
A WSU crash survivor tells his story tonight after football.
Back in Cleveland, we start the fourth quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, Lynn Swan. Good one through 3 with the Browns hanging on to a 3-point advantage. 16-13, but it is now second down and goal as we start the fourth quarter for the Buffalo Bills at the 11-yard line. The running back is Thurman Thomas. Double tight end set here. Fake to Thomas. Kelly fires, and it's almost intercepted. It was deflected by Pepper Johnson and almost picked by Mike Caldwell.
Boy, Caldwell, I know it surprised him after being hit by Pepper, but it looked like it was right in his hands. Bounces from 52 to 56. Credit Pepper Johnson for making the proper read. There's Pepper, number 52. He gets the left hand on it. Oh, boy, it's right there for Mike Caldwell.
Kelly trying to force it in there. Third and goal. 11th play of the drive.
And here's where this crowd comes into play, and Kelly has to take a timeout.
Play clock was down to 6. Timeout. Buffalo. 4 seconds into the fourth quarter. Browns lead by 3.
Introducing the new Plymouth Grand Voyager. It's filled with clever ideas. Now there's a sliding door on this side and this side. 27% more room for you and all your stuff. And seats that roll out of the way. A gazillion cup holders that hold almost anything. Plus more safety and greater visibility. You can carry more and do more. The new Plymouth Grand Voyager. It simply slides, folds, protects, unfolds, rolls, and drives better.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. This is dull. Doesn't have to be.
And now the starting lineup. That groom from Texas, Billy Clyde Humphrey. And at bride, a 5'6" debutante from Alabama, Nell Peterson. The Humphrey wedding brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good. The vows are up.
I do? I do.
And they're good. Whoa, Nelly.
That was beautiful, man.
You got the winning color.
This is my dog, Lou. We four-wheel together. It's quite a workout for the engine. I also deliver pizzas, which creates a lot of stop-and-go driving. I use Pennzoil because it's been good insurance for my car.
Now with the revolutionary Pennstar molecule, Pennzoil clings to moving parts. Works like liquid ball bearings.
I change my oil every 3,000 miles or 800 pizzas.
Engine problems? Before you try a tune-up, try Gum Out first. The solution could be less than $5.
The heart and soul of the defense, Smith and Bennett looking on, keeping Bennett up. Well, yep, that's his way of working off a little anxiety right here as the offense tries to get them back on top. It is third down and goal at the 11-yard line, and they'll come up in a set with Thomas and Holmes both in the backfield. Fake toss. Roll, come back the other way. Lonnie Johnson, the tight end, has it. He's inside the 10 and then thrown out of bounds inside the 5 by Stevan Moore.
Key block out there for Johnson by Glenn Parker, the right tackle, who gets all the way across field. You know, these guys on the right side fake like they're run blocking. They go down on all fours, hide for a minute, and then go all the way across the field and make a block. That's
almost got
well
in, too,
executed.
there was a misdirection with Kelly faking to Thomas out to the right and rolling behind him, throwing a dangerous play, throwing all the way across the field, and Johnson almost got it in.
This is little more than an extra point in terms of distance. 21 yards for Steve Christie. And he missed it.
Oh, no. How do you do that?
Steve Christie has been one of the best for years. Bruce DeHaven, the special teams coach, can't believe it. Nobody can. Cleveland says thank you very much. 16-13.
Welcome to the greatest air connections of the past 25 years, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, celebrating its 25th anniversary. Southwest Airlines, the low-fare airline. Unleashing their patented no-huddle assault, Buffalo's Jim Kelly and James Lofton converged on a Monday night ambush of the Bengals. The Bills' tandem combined for 220 yards and a pair of touchdowns in a dominating performance.
Kelly looking, has time. There's the long one down the field, and it is caught for the touchdown.
The rooster says. The sheep says. The low-fare airline says.
We offer low fares to all our destinations. Switch to Southwest Airlines and you can save money the next time you fly. Just call 1-800-I-FLY-SWA.
Mom? Here's another clever idea from Plymouth. To make the new Plymouth Grand Voyager even more versatile, they simply went back to the drawing board. And voila, a driver's side sliding door was born. Now it's twice as easy to get into, twice as easy to get out of, twice as easy to load, twice as easy to unload. Grand Voyager. It simply slides, folds, protects, unfolds, rolls, and drives better.
Tuesday at a special time, Jill's new friend gets too close for Tim's comfort.
We were just sitting out in the Camaro talking. It's no big deal.
I don't care. Camaro, what year?
An older home improvement, Tuesday.
Hard to believe. The snap is good. The hold is good. And the kick was what?
So Cleveland takes over at the 20-yard line, and Keenan McCardle picks up 8 on the pass from Testaverde. No kicker really is going to miss very many 21-yarders. That's an extra point in effect. Christie, the second most accurate of all time. Nick Lowry, the all-time leader, 80.4%, and Steve would be next at exactly 80% coming into the game.
And remarkable numbers, too, from 40 yards in. I don't think he's figured this one out either. We thought he might have slipped. We took a look at it on replay. No, he didn't slip. No, it was fine.
Second and a long yard from the 29-yard line. And Lorenzo White with a burst out to the 35-yard line on a gain of 6. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by the all-new Plymouth Grand Voyager, the next generation of the minivan. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor orders. Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings. And Visa, official card of the NFL. First and 10 up at the 35-yard line. Early fourth quarter. Browns leading 16-13. Benny hitting Walter Reeves, the tight end, for a short gain. Bryce Pop makes the stop.
Well, if you have built your offensive team around a big, strong, physical offensive line, this is the stage of the ball game where you call on them to take control of a football game. This is where championship football teams, and that's what the Browns aspire to be, this is the time of the ball game when they're trying to protect a lead. This is when they take control of the line of scrimmage, put together a lot of plays and a long point-producing drive.
Second down and 8. Testaverde's throw is caught by Reeves. He is down. The play is over.
Good read by Testaverde of the safety blitz. Henry Jones coming in. They picked up one, but Jones came in free, and still Testaverde was able to get rid of the football.
Of course, that's a pass completion that's only good for 1 yard.
Well, it's better than a 7-yard sack. Here comes Jones right in his face. Bennett's there.
Good call that time by Wade Phillips coming with the blitz. It worked.
3rd down and 6 after a pair of 2-yard passes to the tight end from the 39-yard line. Then he throws, and a catch is made by Keenan McCardle, who caught it short of the first down and then was able to move forward and pick up the first out to the 46-yard line.
Thomas Smith should have had the tackle short of the first down, and a good effort by McCardle breaks that tackle, and he gets the first.
That was a pretty good spin to the outside by McCardle. I don't think Smith thought he could get away from it that quickly, but nice little pivot to the outside by McCardle. Broke himself free.
Well, McCardle's quite a story, too. We'll get around to that in a moment, but he has been cut 3 or 4 times and finally has emerged as the leading receiver coming in to tonight's game for the Browns.
From the 48, then he hangs in the pocket, finds the open man. It's McCardle inside the 35 to the 30-yard line as McCardle got free over the middle, and Testaverde hanging right in there, guns it right into his numbers.
12th round pick originally by the Washington Redskins. They cut him. He came here and went to Chicago. They cut him. He came back, was on the practice squad, and has really emerged as a fine receiver.
That's where you give all 11 guys on the offensive team a plus. It's excellent blocking, good routes run by all the receivers. McCardle was open, and then he delivered the ball. Crisply done by the Browns.
10.5 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Browns up by 3. First down at the Buffalo 29. Draw, Ernest Biner. And Biner picks up 2 to the 27-yard line.
This is, I don't know if you've been with us throughout the night. This is one of the hardest hitting games we've watched in a long time. It's been sloppy at times, but there has been 100% effort on the part of both teams, particularly the defensive units. And it's beginning to swing a little bit. You kind of get the feeling that the strength of this Cleveland offensive line is beginning to tell a little against a fine Buffalo defense.
And it's a defense that has really poured itself out here tonight. The Bills at 2-1 need this game to reestablish themselves as a force in the AFC. A lot of people have just written them off.
2nd down and 8. Vinny gets sacked at the 34-yard line. Bruce Smith, first guy.
His first sack of the year.
Got his shirt, and they are going to give Bruce the full sack there, and it's his first, not only his first of the year, it's only the 2nd in his last 11.5 games.
Yeah, he had 10 sacks last year, and that is numero uno here in 1995. 7 consecutive Pro Bowls for this guy, and that's just good work to the inside and pretty good athleticism to jump and still be able to get the sack.
3rd down and 14. And Testaverde throws, and it's broken up. Marlon Kerner just did get over there. Andre Rison waiting for it, and Kerner breaks up the play.
I don't think Kerner even knew he broke up the play.
I don't think he did either, but he was in the position where he should have been. Had he been looking, he might have even got it.
I don't think he ever seized the ball.
No, he didn't. But credit him with the play. He's made a couple of them tonight, this rookie from Ohio State.
A timely placement of the cranium.
Using your head.
Yes.
They're going to punt. And what better place to put a pooch punt than toward the dog pound? Tom Tupa. High snap. And he tries to angle it, but kicks it too far. It's a touchback. Just does cross the goal line.
And that kick will not win you best of show.
No, it's a 14-yard net on that kick.
That sends you to the kennel.
Yep.
Had a dream the other day. Canines were running the show. It was something. Bring me the cat. But if you want to be treated with respect, you gotta treat others with respect. Roll over. Whether they get around on 4 legs or 2. Of course, just between us mutts, it was kind of gratifying.
Bold yet smooth, easy to drink.
To see the whole world going to the dogs.
Here's another clever idea from Plymouth. In the new Plymouth Grand Voyager, a seat is not only a seat, it's a table and a cup holder. It can come with a drawer, and one seat can convert into 2 reclining child safety seats. Overall, the Plymouth Grand Voyager seats are the best minivan seats on wheels. In fact, they're the only minivan seats on wheels. Clever idea. Plymouth Grand Voyager. It simply slides, folds, protects, unfolds, rolls, and drives better.
When Dave Thomas created Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich, he used a whole breast filet seasoned with his own blend of pepper and spices, but did he go too far?
Very spicy.
Well, it's perfect.
Depends on who you ask. Try Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich.
Back at Cleveland Stadium, tight one. 3-point lead for the Cleveland Browns, trying to make it 4 straight. Clearly one of the prime contenders in the AFC, but as we have talked about from time to time tonight, for Buffalo to reassert itself, a victory tonight would certainly do that.
Two tough teams. We talked about it earlier, and just after we say looked like Cleveland was beginning to take control of it, Bruce Smith makes the big play.
Well, we're seeing the age-old problem for the Cleveland Browns. Here we are with 8 minutes and 58 seconds left, and they've only got 16 points on the board. They just don't consistently score enough points to be as dominant as they could be.
Jim Kelly starts from the 20-yard line, goes to the tight end. That's Lonnie Johnson. Goes to the 25. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Mike Caldwell makes the tackle. 8:40 left in regulation. Kelly throws, Reed makes the catch, and Reed gets it up to the 34-yard line. Eric Turner making the stop. Bills will have a short week, and Turner's been limping all night long, but has played, I would guess, more than 80% of the plays.
Well, you would think that Buffalo would have the sense to challenge the middle of the field when you have a safety noticeably hobbled.
Kelly from the 34-yard line. He dumps it off to Holmes, and the rookie gets... Well, the rookie tries to lateral the ball. A forward pass, and a flag goes down.
Yeah, that brings flags from everywhere. You know, that's challenging the middle of the field. It's just challenging at 1 yard downfield. Not quite enough.
Needless to say, Derek Holmes will hear about that. You don't be throwing the football around when you're in this kind of traffic. Trying to get it to the outside. It was a forward lateral intended for the tight end, Lonnie Johnson.
To say that's a rookie mistake is a colossal understatement.
He may never lateral again.
Illegal forward pass on the offense. Loss of down. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
You know, that's a funny thing. When you look at that play, he's lucky they ruled that a forward pass. I mean, that was supposed to be in a fumble.
But remember how we saw this in the playoffs last year, wasn't it? The Miami-San Diego game?
Right.
Keith Jackson, it's an illegal forward pass.
2nd and 15, and Reed out of bounds at the 41-yard line.
Kelly, who struggled through the first 3 games for the Bills, is now 23 of 29 for tonight. Up around 180 yards.
Ball at the 42-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and a long 2. Key play here as they try to keep the drive going. 7.5 left in regulation. They give it to Holmes, the rookie to the outside, to the short side of the field. He picks up the 1st down, turns the corner, and with a burst takes the ball across the 50 to the Cleveland 48. Footman makes the tackle.
Hey, Holmes, he does move 220 pounds very quickly. He looks like a big Thurman Thomas. Very quick feet.
1st down, Buffalo at the Cleveland 49. 7 minutes left. Kelly, and going down
to get it is Billy Brooks making the catch. That's a 7-yard pickup to the 42-yard line. There's nothing else Kelly is making. Well, another Brown goes down. This time it's Langham, the cornerback, Antonio Langham.
Boy, and Langham, remember earlier in the game in the first half was holding.
Arm.
Was it the other arm?
Yeah, it was the left arm when he came off the first time. Pretty sure.
I'm not. It matters little. Antonio Langham, the Brown who's injured. This game has been littered with injured players.
Injury timeout.
Here's another clever idea from Plymouth. Take the power of an advanced multi-port engine and the nimble agility of power rack and pinion steering, then expand on that idea considerably, and you'd have the new Plymouth Voyager Rally. Half sports car, half trunk. Clever idea. Plymouth Voyager Rally. It simply slides, folds, protects, unfolds, rolls, and drives better.
Radio Shack.
Antonio Langham has come off the field, another injured Cleveland Brown. And Tim Jacobs comes in, and it will not take Tim Kelly too long to find young Tim Jacobs. It's a great secondary when it's intact for the Cleveland Browns. With the two safeties, we talked about them earlier, Turner and Moore, they're as good as there is in the game. But they have really taken their lumps tonight. And Eric Moore has been in and out of the game ever since the first quarter. Bill Belichick, he loves to be defensive coordinator. He loves to get in there with the players. Second down, 2. At the 41, 6:38 remaining in regulation. Kelly going deep. Kelly has a man, and who else but Andre Reed for the touchdown? Would I lie to you about Tim Jacobs? The most prolific quarterback-receiver combination in history in terms of completions, and they have just completed one of their biggest ever. Well, Langham came out, Jacobs came in. And it was not lost on Jim Kelly. It was just a straight fly pattern. He ran right by Jacobs.
Well, Andre Reed, as we all know, so oftentimes called to work almost exclusively on the middle of the field since the departure of people like James Lofton and Don Beebe. Now he gets to run the fly pattern, and Jacobs in another world.
Reed is not a speedster.
No. And there's another hook by Christie.
He missed it, and that is a big miss because instead of a 4-point lead, forcing Cleveland to score a touchdown, it's a 3-point lead.
That is big.
We're going to have a head case on the sidelines for sure with Steve Christie. He was totally bewildered after missing that short field goal, and now he is. This was hard to fathom. How you can even get it up that high and miss it.
You put that through the uprights, and that almost certainly removes the chance of a tie in this ball game. Now with the lead only 3 points, that certainly exists. Again, no slippage.
The field goal he missed before was the shortest field goal miss ever for him. He's been in the league since 1990. That's the third extra point he has missed. And we talked about the Buffalo special teams. We really didn't have Christie in mind. I mean, he's been one of the beacons more in terms of the punt coverage and the kickoff coverage and the kick returns as opposed to this. But by rights, the Buffalo Bills right now should be up by 7. By uprights.
By uprights is right. A missed extra point, a missed field goal, both chip shots have instead turned into Buffalo chips.
Christie to kick off. Well, he took it out on the kickoff, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he's okay there. Bates downs it in the end zone. The weird and wacky world of place kickers. It is.
They can make coaches change professions.
It is a bizarre world. Great
It's a lonely world. They sit and do nothing, you know, and then all of a sudden the whole thing comes crashing down on their shoulders. Not in this case, but so many times it does happen.
Or the punter there talking to him about planting his feet.
Oh, he'll straighten you out.
Yeah, that's always one way to get better. Talk to the other kicker.
6:24 left in regulation.
We're going to talk to you.
Buffalo leading by 3. Testaverde guns one and incomplete up at the 36. A little low. Andre Rison went down to try to get it, couldn't.
Boy, and Rison makes his break to the inside, and he's there. He is right there, and this is one of the few passes tonight that Vinny has not thrown beautifully, although still it's right on the thigh of Rison.
He almost did have it.
Yeah, he had to sink and go down for it. Actually looked like the ball bounced off his leg. He wasn't able to keep it from hitting his thigh pad and bouncing away.
2nd down 10 at the 20-yard line. Vinny incomplete, and Rison gives him the kind of look like, are we on the same page?
That's exactly what it was. One of them wasn't. A timing pattern, and Testaverde delivered it before what he thought was going to be the break to the outside, and he did not get the break to the outside by Rison.
These 3rd downs for the Cleveland Browns now, even though there's still a little more than 6 minutes left in the ball game, become very, very critical.
3rd down 10, 6:15 left in regulation. Testaverde going deep, blocks it perfectly into the arms of Rison, and a first down at the Buffalo 37-yard line over Ken Irvin, the rookie from Memphis.
I know that it will take a long time for Vinny Testaverde to win over the hearts of a lot of Cleveland Browns fans. But, folks, it's time to believe that this guy can take you places.
But if you're a defensive coordinator, don't lock Ken Irvin up man for man. Give him no help against Andre Rison. They paid the price.
Vinny is getting it done. Came into tonight's game the highest-rated quarterback in the league, and he's playing like it.
Rison's caught 6 balls for 126 yards. That's Ernest Biner for about 3. The pass on 3rd down from Testaverde to Rison, 43 yards.
He's had a fair number of drops in there. He has thrown the ball pretty effectively, and especially when he's had to.
2nd down and 6. The numbers for Andre on the night.
He only had 9 coming in, so he's having a big night.
Testaverde on 2nd and 6. Throws it into the arms of McCardle for a first down to the 23-yard line. Got inside Thomas Smith to haul it in.
Well thrown, but also fine catch by McCardle.
Also keep in mind, now that the Browns are moving into field goal range, that Matt Stover lately hasn't exactly been a pillar of strength kicking the football.
After a long streak, 23 straight, he's missed a couple in the last 2 games. Biner. Ernest to the 20-yard line, and the clock ticking down at 4:35 left in the 4th. There's Stover. Buffalo leading 19-16.
Well, right now the Cleveland Browns thinking only one thing, and that's the end zone. A touchdown gives you an opportunity to take a 4-point lead and turn around and force Buffalo to be the team that has to score a touchdown to take the lead again.
Testaverde, 2nd and 7. Fires, deflected, nearly picked off and incomplete. Off the hands of Marlon Turner, who's had a very active night at cornerback. Critical 3rd down here now for Vinny Testaverde. He should put it in the air, but he'll be very careful with it because he is well within field goal range of Matt Stover to tie it up.
Cornelius Bennett is the guy that gets his hands on the football. Good range by Bennett. Adept at coming from the outside or floating back in coverage. 3rd down and 7 at the 20. Good protection. He guns it, and it's incomplete. It may have been deflected. Rison wants a flag. There is none. Greg Evans with the coverage. I don't know whether it was flicked or not, but it was right in there. Did not look like Rison was interfered with. It changed direction just slightly at the end. Just enough. Greg Evans. Boy, talk about large plays. That's a touchdown. He's made several tonight. 38-yard field goal attempt. Stover. Yes. And he ties it. 3:49 left in regulation at Cleveland Stadium. Yes, it was good.
Well, this one is has been a brutal game. It's been ugly at times, but it has been hard fought, bitterly fought. There's deflection, and again a play by Greg Evans. He's made several tonight. Going high in the air just to take the spiral off it.
I think Rison was complaining that before he went up into the air, when he made his move past Evans, that Evans grabbed him and gave him a little shove. But those complaints always fall on deaf ears. You're never going to see an official in the secondary drop a flag after you lodge a protest.
Andre Reed from Kutztown, small school in Pennsylvania. The two Andres, two of the best in the business today. So Greg Evans, the man of the moment for Buffalo among many. In a game that is seesawed, it's 19-all as Stover's kick is taken in at the 7-yard line by Derek Holmes. Holmes out past the 20 to the 27-yard line.
Well, Derek has that football hanging loose there. This is the time of the game where if you're a ball carrier or a receiver, after your run or during your run and your reception, guard that ball with your life.
I think it's safe to say that it'll be a long time before Derek will be lateraling the ball again.
If he wants to remain a Buffalo Bill, I think that's right.
So the Bills with a 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line. 3:38 left in the 4th. Kelly, it's incomplete. Off the hands of Russell Copeland. 2nd and 10. Antonio Langham back in the game for the Browns. His absence was costly. 2nd and 10 from the 26. Kelly fires. The catch is made by Copeland. And before he gets wrestled down, that's a 1st down up at the 45-yard line. Pepper Johnson and Antonio Langham in on the tackle.
And that's Copeland getting away from Langham. Good jam at the line of scrimmage, but Copeland able to get away to the inside. Watch the jam here by Langham, 38. But he gives the inside away to Copeland, and there's no help coming from a safety until late when Eric Turner gets there. If I'm Jim Kelly, I keep working that side of the field.
Thomas up to the 50-yard line. Yeah, Kelly continuing to make a statement. This is my offense. This is, whether you call it the hurry up, the K-gun, whatever it is, the 2-minute drill, the no-huddle offense is Jim Kelly. He defines it. This is what he wants to run. He's in control out there. He calls the plays, and he is making a statement tonight. Looking ahead, each team with 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning.
Catch is made by Justin Armour.
And there's a smart rookie play. Did you see him cover up the ball? Did you see Armour after that catch as he wraps it up with both hands as the Browns try to strip it out? I think Caldwell was trying to get it away from him.
Well, it's going to be 3rd down and 2 now at the 46-yard line. And the Bills really in no hurry to run this play off. They're going to let the clock tick down to the 2-minute warning. 3rd and a deuce when we come back to Cleveland. Game time.
In the NFL, you've got to use your God-given talents and sharpen them with training, discipline, and responsibility. I'm Eric Turner of the Cleveland Browns, a United Way volunteer. I've seen how it's working here in Cleveland through all the youth and character building agencies. One new and innovative program is called YAM, Young African American Males. It's part of United Way's Family and Children's Services. Counselors use art, music, and drama to help these teenagers build their self-esteem, give them pride in their heritage, and a positive outlet for their youthful energies. Special funding for this program was provided by another group of young people, high school students who serve on the United Way's Youth Fund Distribution Committee. These young people recognize the positive impact of the YAM program. United Way and the National Football League are working to reduce crime and violence, drug abuse, and wasted lives. And your United Way contributions make it possible. United Way, reaching those who need help, touching us all.
Program note, Wide World of Sports, the World Gymnastics Championships this Sunday at the times reflected at the bottom of the screen.
You know, we'd be remiss, Al, if we did not at this point. We'll talk about the San Diego Chargers, the Kansas City Chiefs coming up next Monday night. Steve Bono leading the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday with a 76-yard touchdown run and a very nervous Steve Christie on the sideline. I started to say we would be remiss if we did not wish Stephen Michaels and his new bride, Sherry, your son, Stephen. They were married yesterday, and we wish, or rather Saturday, and we wish them all the very best. Long life, good health, and happiness.
I just have a message for Sherry Michaels. If Stephen's watching this game, I'm going to have a talk with the boy on the honeymoon. Thank you.
All right, Pop.
3rd down and 2. As Thurman Thomas picks up a 1st down, moving the sticks as he takes it to the 42-yard line.
What would you talk to him about?
Well, I'll tell you on the ride home. 1st and 10 at the 42.
Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
Good for you. I was congratulating Stephen.
Okay. Here's Thomas. You're wondering if to the 34-yard line.
About this man, his range. In 93, he kicked one 59 yards against Miami. Tonight he's had problems.
He's had a lot of problems.
And he is, I would say his heart rate right now is a tad elevated.
Here's Thomas on 2nd and 3. Thomas bursts through a hole and takes it down to the 15-yard line. Turner makes the tackle.
Thomas's longest of the year.
And they better watch out. They're liable to get too close.
Well, time is of the essence now to the Browns. Clearly Buffalo in field goal range right now.
Yeah, but Al, they're getting too close.
Oh, yeah. Well, but if you're the Browns, you don't tempt fate again here. You have to start thinking about conserving some time. Buffalo's going to take as much time as they can off the clock and set up what they hope is a game-winning and, in effect, game-ending field goal.
This is called cover up the ball time.
Yes, sir. And that's Carwell Gardner to the 14-yard line. And the Browns... Well, I don't know why the Browns aren't taking a timeout.
Well, I think they're making an assessment on how Christie has kicked the last 2 times.
Yeah, but
that's the only thing they can be thinking.
Well, they're leaving themselves no time at all.
Yep, I agree.
And that's a very curious decision here because you just don't figure Christie's going to blow another one.
Marv Levy, a little concerned that they were going to let it go all the way down.
Of course, with 2 timeouts, there's a limit to how much they could have stopped it twice, but Buffalo still could have let it run down the full 45 seconds from 3rd to 4th before they kicked the ball.
Dan, that heart rate you spoke of Steve Christie has just doubled.
I'm not sure that they actually could have picked up much more than about 10 seconds or so. If they would have had their full complement of 3 timeouts, then absolutely.
Yep.
and you have to assume that Bill Belichick would have used them.
And even though it's a 1,000,000-to-1 shot, you know, stranger things have happened.
Oh, yeah.
At least if you make them snap the ball, you know, you could have an errant exchange. I mean, a number of things could happen. And if nothing else, even if the Bills took a couple of kneel downs, that would have moved it back 3 or 4 yards.
Quite frankly, if I'm
go.
Buffalo, I would have stopped the clock and kicked it with about 15 seconds left. In case I missed it or mishandled it, I could have tried it again.
33-yard field goal, and there's time. Time is called, and they waved it off. There's no play. No play.
But he missed it again.
Yeah.
Oh, he will be in a lot of trouble
Before
mentally.
the kick, timeout, Cleveland.
Bad
There's their second
decision.
team timeout.
Bad decision. Oh. Steve Christie has now hooked, and I mean duck hooked, his last 3 kicks.
Somebody's got to turn his hand over.
2 of them counted. That one did not, luckily for Christie and the Bills.
I'm going to be calling for volunteers on the sidelines.
Now, how much of a tendency will there be now? Pepper Johnson's the guy that's going to call it here, right in the middle of your screen. Here he takes the timeout, and it's given to him well before the snap. But,
well, you know,
how much of
he was distracted by this, too. I can guarantee you he saw a little bit of that motion.
Well, that may be. But he's going to have to now fight the tendency to overcorrect and push that ball off to the right.
He's liable to put this in the lake.
33-yarder.
Which is well to the right.
Yes.
Well, if you're Cleveland, I'm not sure I don't use my other one here. Ice him again.
Game tied, 8 seconds to play. 33-yarder. And this time he makes it. With 5 seconds left.
Now he can go home. Well, the irony of the timeout called by Cleveland.
And we're back to that graphic we showed earlier in the ball game about the success the Cleveland Browns have when they score more than 20 points. The scoreboard shows a 19-point effort by the Cleveland Browns tonight, and they're going to have an L to show for it.
You know, this ball did some funny things.
Yeah.
That's a screwball.
It did. That was a
At least
knuckler.
a knuckler.
It started to the left and then came back a little bit.
Sure
didn't it?
did.
Buffalo has seen its full complement of missed field goals. Just the one in Tampa.
Oh, no, that's
January of '91.
Let Scott Norwood
up alone.
Nobody's brought him up. But I know one thing. If Christie would have missed that, he would have had to swim the shores of Lake Erie to get back to Buffalo.
And if you swim the
he would
shores,
not have been on the charter.
You know, if you swim the shores of Lake Erie back toward Buffalo, you eventually wind up on the Niagara River, and you know where that goes.
Right over the fall.
Yes.
And that was unsuccessfully tried here recently, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, the Buffalo Bills can once again say, we're back again. They're going to be 3-1. They are going to play the New York Jets at home this week, and then Seattle at home, and then we'll see them on a Monday night at New England. So they could very well be 5-1 the next time we see these guys.
You know, Alan, what this Buffalo team has that even the Super Bowl teams did not have is a superb defense.
There's a bouncing ball fielded at the 39-yard line, and then Leroy Horde winds up with the football, but that is the end of the game. Cleveland comes in. You can't call a timeout. The clock will stop at the end of the play after every kickoff return. And time has expired. What a night for Steve Christie. Heroes come in all kinds of shapes and forms and sizes. Buffalo 22-19. Marv Levy now hold everything. Marv Levy is so angry. This would indicate
They're
that
sending
something
the
else
Bills
has happened
back.
right.
They're going to say there's 1 second left.
Now the clock starts when the ball winds up in the hands of the receiving team. So when Horde gets it, it starts from 5, and when he's tackled, it stops.
I think that's a good call because I think you're going to see there was 1 second. This is a fine job of officiating. Let's watch it. There, the clock should start when he's touched. The clock starts a little late. And the play is over there. Yep, the play is over. And this is an accurate call by the officials. Now, if anything, it looked like the clock might have started a second late after Horde touches the ball.
Well, we are down to one play. Obviously, the Hail Mary, looking for the defensive foul or the deflected reception.
And the Browns are going to take a... Well, in what has been a very strange game played on a very strange night, the Cleveland Browns are going to get one more shot.
That's former Cleveland Brown defensive back Jim Schaffner, the quarterback's coach, who was trying to explain to Marv Levy what was happening. Marv is...
Well, Marv, an English literature graduate, Harvard man, believe me, has a very colorful vocabulary.
Yes, he does. He was expressing to Gary Lane words other than
I don't
that
believe
with which he earned his master's and got his Phi Beta Kappa key.
I don't think he was quoting Shakespeare and Chaucer when he was talking to Gary.
Coe College, is it? Well, here we go. Trips right. And Testaverde to fling one to end the game.
No, he's not.
Doesn't even get it away. And the Buffalo Bills have won it to go 3-1.
And I think you could chalk another sack to Bryce Pop. Pop got the ball.
And the clock finally strikes midnight on this one, as the Buffalo Bills win it by a score of 22-19. Talk to you from Kansas City next week. Until then, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, Lynn Swan. Good night from Cleveland.